I saw my friend's true colors after our Japan trip, so I blocked her.
Blocker.
Finding out my friend of 5 years was an absolute a-hole when taking her on her first trip to Japan 1 year after I moved back from there. So what did she do? By the way, this comes from throwaway venting on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So wouldn't add to the itinerary at all, but complained every single day when we got there. I took her to popular stations in Tokyo since it was her first time and we had 7 days, but she wanted to go to the beaches and rise at 5 a.m. and stay out till 2 a.m. like she does in Mexico.
How does she? I know people like this, and I don't understand how you can live off of that little sleep.
I mean, if you're in New York, you could do it.
I don't get that. If I don't get like, oh my God, if I got this little sleep, I would be a nightmare.
You do it for a week and then
I would be a
rest
nightmare.
after.
If I did it one day, it would be a nightmare.
Also, like doing this, I mean, complaining about everything is bad, but like it sounds like you guys just have vastly different
traveling styles. Yeah, which is
it's just gonna lead to some nonsense
you
coming up.
need to talk about travel styles before you go on travel, like on trips.
Like I'm gonna go to Mexico City during New Year's, and these people that I've never traveled with, these people, they are planning stuff and they're trying to spend so much money. Like,
see, I am not a big spender on trips.
I'm like very frugal, and
I prefer to do free stuff, or close to free.
I like walking around talking to locals and stuff, and they're like, let's go to a club and get bottle service. I'm like that sounds.
Why are you going?
Huh?
Just stay with us
and go. Come
to the New Year's party.
Anyway, getting back to this story. Compared everything to Mexico, even wanting to tip a restaurant owner in USD because I do it in Mexico. Wanted to tip everyone and argued the whole time when I told her, don't do it, it's rude. And when I got to my Japanese friend to educate her on how to give proper thanks, she finds one person online who said, it's not required, but appreciated. And wouldn't stop pressing me about how it's so good to tip. She would ask me how my legs were doing, and I'd answer honestly like, yeah, they hurt. And she later mocked and berated me, saying it made her feel bad I was complaining about my legs.
I would not travel with this person.
I never said they hurt out of my own accord, nor did I stop what we were doing to ask for breaks. If she asked, I said yeah, but she'd rather I'd lie. I asked if she was thirsty while we waited for open hours, and she said no, so I went to find a coffee shop to grab one real quick. And she goes, I don't even want to go there, but you should have taken me to a real cafe.
Y'all need to maybe, I think honestly, if this is how it was going, I'd be like, you know what? Hey, let's, like, you can do whatever you want and I'm going to go do what I want.
Yeah.
I think people are really afraid of doing like solo travel stuff, but in places like Japan and also in Europe, definitely. I mean, my experience is Europe. Yeah. It's very safe to do.
I once did that, but it didn't turn out well.
Oh, what?
When I was traveling with an ex, she was like we need to do this, this, and this, and this. I'm like, I feel like I need some space to just try out my own stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's a little, I guess it's a little bit differently received from like a partner.
It was differently received. I was a young man, not trained in the ways of the world.
I do think all traveling should incorporate some alone time, though.
I agree. Even if you're traveling with a partner, especially if it's like a month. But
maybe especially if you're traveling with a partner because you're going to be in the same room with them.
Katera Rain says, I don't even want to go there is a solid yellow flag phrase for me. I don't know. Yeah, it means you're just growing there. Girl, I'm just grabbing me a drink and you said no. Doesn't believe in itineraries yet hated everywhere I took her. So got her friend back home to look up places for her. She had 6 months to look up anything to add, but she doesn't believe in itineraries. Got mad at an order for her when she didn't ask me to help. Said if we were in Mexico, I would have ordered for you.
Y'all aren't in Mexico.
All she said was thinking about getting a bun today. She didn't end up ordering it herself because she didn't want to point to it and ask the cashier. I was standing 10 steps away from her. There was no one in line and we were the only ones in the store. Not sure why she didn't even attempt to order a bun in the case or ask me to help her. Started saying she should have gone on this trip with friend A or friend B to my face. Said she didn't like touristy areas like aka Shibuya, Asakusa, Harajuku, and wanted to go to rural areas while not even speaking Japanese, and was relying on me to quite literally hold her hand through everything. She's older than me, but both late 20s, by the way. It sounds like she's someone, but also that you have vastly different like traveling styles. I think, if you're traveling with a bunch of people, you're going to have to just go with whatever the group
size
wants to do. But if you're traveling like one-on-one and you have vastly different traveling styles and neither of you are willing to compromise, you
just
probably shouldn't travel together.
Yeah.
She said she was going to leave the trip early if we spent a day with my sister at our Japanese friend's house.
Let her.
Good.
Let her.
She wouldn't eat sushi because they have worms in them. Wouldn't go to karaoke because they were listening. Said I made her cry, which she's only ever done at her dad's funeral. Wow. Called a dried squid a gag gift she can get her family. Accused me of cutting her luggage and wouldn't take out yen from the ATM, so I did and she paid me back. Tried to tell me data works fine here compared to our pocket Wi-Fi and that we can just leave the Wi-Fi at the hotel when I asked her to hold it for us. I lived in Japan and will not go anywhere without pocket Wi-Fi. This isn't even the half of it. A whole 7-day
Oh my God. She sounds like a nightmare. Yep.
Yeah. For the first time in my life, I actually slept through an entire 9-hour plane ride on the way back. What is it called at ETA? What is it?
Edit to add.
Edit to add. I totally forgot some of the more effed up things like asking, do you have an eating disorder?
God.
Or telling
Who
me
is
she was going to
this person?
smack my hand because I had it near my nose as I was choking on so much secondhand smoke. My throat was getting raspy and trying to convince me it was my fault that I was having inappropriate stuff happening to me. Example, man chased me down the streets of Ikebukuro wanting to go to a hotel, but it's my fault because I was standing alone at a station.
Oh my God.
And to add to, anyone want to guess at the profession she's pursuing?
I don't know.
I have no
Travel
idea. Travel coordinator.
Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But we got some relevant comments from OP and some updates. But yeah, this is just like when people have different, I mean, she also sounds terrible, but like when people have different traveling styles, even if you're both nice and kind, it can be really hard
Yeah.
to adapt to someone else's way of traveling.
Mm-hmm. Dured says, wow, uncultured travelers. I remember studying what's acceptable and not when I went to Japan in 2023. And also just her not listening to any of like when people are like, hey, this is rude. This is inappropriate to do. And she's like, oh, whatever.
I don't care.
Like, actually, I think I'm right.
I actually don't care at all.
Mm-hmm. Literally in every place that my friends and I went to, we like looked up, what is the tipping culture? Do we
Whoa.
tip this always? Whoa!
Dark Lilith 86, a private message that we won't reveal, but should we read it?
Can we look at it?
Can we look at it? I mean,
do
you
I
could.
read
I guess you could. Do we read it right now?
When do I read it?
I mean, wait. Are you in chat? Do we read it right now?
Read it right now?
Dark
Okay,
Lilith.
Okay.
Wait. Read the other one. Read the other one.
Oh, yeah, can we read the other one?
Go to the other one. Yeah. Do it.
Okay. Steel Riot, you are an amazing best friend and stepdad. You have been with Tiny Demon from the start. I want to take the next step with you. I love you and Tiny Demon, you too. So Steel Riot, will you marry me?
Ah!
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. Did you say yes?
Say yes.
Say yes.
Say yes.
Say yes. Say yes.
I can't read the story until we get.
Say yes.
We just
This
got a
is our
chat proposal.
first chat proposal.
I figured Tiny Demon was your 5-year-old. Oh.
Oh my God.
This is so sorry. I want to cry. Oh my God. Oh, we'll find out in 3 hours. Do you want me to do it again? Was that
He's
okay?
Driving. Oh. You guys are the best.
That's so sweet.
Oh, I love this community. This is awesome.
I can't believe I have to wait 3 hours for this.
All right. Yeah, Kimberly finds that Sam is too emotional for this suspense.
This is really sweet.
Okay. Please keep us updated
Yeah, tell us in 3 hours.
on all
Please
of this. Update in Discord.
Can you at me? I'll check it if you at me.
Update in the Discord.
Please.
Oh
my
my
God.
gosh. I love first okay proposal.
That's really exciting.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm so happy for you guys.
happy for you guys. All right. We're gonna get back into this story, but oh my goodness. Editors, keep that in for the full video.
Yeah.
Keep it in.
If you're okay with that.
Yeah, if you're
Dark
okay with
Lilith.
that. Dark Lilith, let us know if
Yeah.
you're not. But okay. So, relevant comments. OP needs to get new friends, and how is the friend? So, OP, I told her off a day after we landed, then blocked her everywhere. She's 28, I'm 26. OP on ending the friendship. After the trip, OP responds, something about trips and friendships. This girl, you would never guess because if you met her, she's mama bear, polite, well-mannered, fiercely independent, and caring. I doubt people in the real life would believe this is her. Once she was out of her element, she turned into the literal spawn of Satan. I wanted to leave her so bad, but I couldn't bring myself to because it's a very foreign country to her. Once she threatened to leave the trip early, though, I literally started looking at flights for her and showed her the options, lol. That pissed her off even more because I was on my phone all throughout dinner. OP gives an example of her friend's reaction when going to a place for breakfast. OP responds, no, literally, I left a bunch of stuff out because it's a lot, but our compromise to visiting my friend's house was I would go alone for a couple of hours while she waited at the hotel. Before I left, I convinced her to try going to the Konbini, which was right next door to our hotel, alone to get breakfast. And she did come back and she said she would never do that again. Want to know why? Some other foreigner saw her and was trying to chat with her. I don't know if this is real, but she was like, yeah, see, nope, I'm not doing that again. She's Mexican, which is why she kept bringing it up and telling me she's going to force me to go to Mexico. That's weird. So I can see how hard it is to order stuff or whatever, and that she wouldn't go to my friend's house because how would you feel if I took you to Mexico and wanted to visit my brother-in-law?
Fine.
I feel like it would be fine.
I don't know. I visited my friend's family when we were traveling.
Yeah. I feel like it's fun to visit.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm visiting a person who like lives here.
Yeah.
That's fun. They can take me around.
But honestly, I could have used that situation and thrown her misogyny right back at her face. Oh, a man talked to you? You must have looked approachable, or it was what you were wearing. Everything she said to me, lol. She thought I was crazy to suggest this and that I was just wasting her hard-earned money to sit around and hang out, and said that when people want to hang out, it means all day, and everyone around her knows that hang out means all day. Also said that later means later today, which was a whole different thing. I digress. But instead of asking me how long, she flips her bananas and tells me she should have gone on this trip with friend A if I wanted to see friends. This is what made her cry.
Oh my God. I hate her.
Yeah. So
I hate her. She's bringing down my vibe.
I know.
My vibe is so high right now.
But we got an update.
Let's get into it.
I got a lot more responses and questions than I thought I would get on my last post. I figured I would share more about it for those who were interested. I also wanted to thank everyone who told me their own story of disaster trips. Some felt really relatable. Also, big thank you to those who asked me for Tokyo recommendations and those who said they would have been glad to have me as their guide. That made me really happy. I actually had 2 friendships that ended over that trip, and overall, I felt really taken advantage of and underappreciated. Thank you all for helping sort some of those feelings by sharing your thoughts. Of course, this was a huge lesson learned, and I'll do my best to move forward with more caution and maturity. A little more context to what I went through. Got mad. I told her no. I don't need her to hold my bag. I got mad. I told her I didn't want to walk 1 hour to our destination because she chose the route with a 1-hour train with a 40-minute walk. I chose the one with 3 transfers and a 10-minute walk. I said I put my compressions in my check-in on accident, and she replies, well, I'm smart and packed mine in a backpack.
I don't like this person.
Yeah, I feel like you would be totally okay to completely not be with this person at all.
Yeah. Also, like, it sounds like she doesn't like Japan. It sounds like she doesn't want to be there. Like, every part of the culture, she's been like, no. Like, she doesn't want to eat sushi.
Don't want to eat sushi in Japan?
What?
What is this? Told me she couldn't help with adding to the itinerary or join study sessions because she had family issues she didn't want to tell me about and didn't understand how that doesn't give her a pass to complain the whole time. She would agree to leave an area but then make snarky comments about how she liked the previous area more. Told me sarcastically I'm always right when I tried to tell her she was reading a Japanese person's response wrong, as if I didn't know the concept of tatame and hane. Lol. I don't know what that is.
I don't know the concept.
Blew up at me for being on my phone during dinner. I was navigating the whole time and we shared a hotel/bed. The only time I got to check in with my fam is when we sat down to eat. Kept saying her family, who was tracking her, was asking why we're at a laundromat or why we're at a mall and not outside. Compare me to friend A like, oh, she would have understood my joke. I feel like, why would you ever want a friend that compares you to other friends?
That's ridiculous. This is why are we on this trip with her?
Also, I feel like, again, like kind of like what we've always said in relationships, you have to see like some of this behavior before, right?
I've been on trips with friends where they were really awful on the trip. So,
Really?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, it's just things that didn't, don't turn up when you are not on a trip and you have totally different travel styles, and they just things don't come up.
Yeah.
Until
Well, do you
you're
think it's
actually on
like
the trip.
a different travel style, or like now looking back at it, you're like, oh, like that part of their personality is a signal?
I think it's heightened on a trip. I definitely would could have seen things from before, but it was only heightened on the trip.
You know who travels well together? Me and Christian.
It's because you lived in the same room together for life.
Yeah. We're not that close, though.
I don't even know.
I don't even know him. Barely know him. Used my other friend's problem I was having against me, saying she understands why my friend did what she did. Yapped about how she hates Selena Gomez for writing a song about her ex.
That's literally every singer.
And when I told her nearly every singer/songwriter does, and she told me to list names, and so I listed people, and she said no, but name male singers though. Heard my fave group XG play in Shibuya, and when I got excited, she goes, ew, only because they're a girl group.
She sounds really misogynistic.
No, she is. I think that's what OP is kind of saying.
A lot of internalized misogyny.
Acted like me making an itinerary meant that we couldn't walk into random shops along the way. Anytime we went somewhere spontaneously or didn't make a reservation, she would be like, see, this is how I travel. I just go with the flow because I do better under pressure. Anyways, so some people had mentioned how I didn't see any of this behavior prior to going on the trip. And I'll be honest and say there were red flags in a relationship, which I saw and I actually did distance myself from. But after I moved to Japan and came back, I was in this weird position and really wanted to reconnect with my old friends and establish a support system again. So I decided to start fresh with her, which was obviously a mistake, and I got what I deserved. She started changing during the pandemic, in which her and friend A got really close as we were barely talking at the time. I talked to a mutual friend of ours recently, and we both suspect that friend A had a part in fueling her toxic behavior. We always knew her as a sort of mama bear that took care of everyone and is super well-mannered and self-righteous. Everyone in real life likes her and looks up to her, but as one commenter pointed out, these good qualities are actually a disguise. She needs to be in control, and once she was out of her element and not in control, she completely lost her cool and was actually very verbally abusive. Which brings me to the next answer to everyone's question. She's pursuing to be a detective or police officer. It's more fitting rather than ironic. She appears disciplined, morally superior, and dominant, but she's simply judgmental, controlling, and it's scary to think someone like her will have more power and influence. The next thing I want to address is people asking, why did she even want to go to Japan?
Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah. Helia Bands says, oh, she's not like other girls.
Not like other girls.
Avery from the Swamp says, did ya get picked, sis?
Hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a picky girl.
I don't understand why you would go to a place that you don't appreciate any aspect of the culture.
I kind of think it's simple. I invited her and said I know of good places and can take us around. I think a lot of people in my life want me to take them to Japan because it's easier to go with someone who knows how to travel there. She wasn't someone who ever dreamed of going to Japan, but the opportunity came up and she took it. She's more of a Korea boo, to be honest, but nevertheless, she was excited to go. She even started texting friend A on the trip saying that we were going to make it up to her and go to Kyoto next year and that I could join, lol, even though she told me to my face, no offense, but I'm never traveling with you again. No offense, but I'm never traveling with you again. That's so offensive.
You don't have to say that. Even if it's true.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like, I would never travel with you again.
The last thing people are asking is what I said to her when I ended it. So when we got back to the States, basically, I started blocking her on everything. I argued with her for 7 days, and everything that came out of her mouth was a complaint or insult. So I had zero energy to go back and forth. I already know that nothing will change her mind or open her eyes. She texted me saying why she couldn't find my username anymore. And I said this, by the way, you can join us live on YouTube and Facebook every weekday at 3 p.m. PST, and we're probably live right now, so tap our profile.
I can't believe she said that.
Yeah, no, there's actually what she said in a bit, but I feel like OP is right in not traveling with this person. It seems like they have very different traveling styles, and that person kind of sounds a little stinky.
Sounds like outside of traveling.
Sounds like maybe you shouldn't be friends with her.
Yeah.
But we got a little bit more. So, girl, No way we are friends anymore after the way you behaved all throughout the trip. Never in my life have I heard a grown adult complain that much and not know how to communicate without an attitude, gaslighting, and being condescending. You are ethnocentric, extremely judgmental, and ableist. You say a lot of racist microaggressions and misogynistic things, and the fact that people can't even be honest with you, or the fact that you can't be honest with others, is wild.
Yes.
You'd rather not hear the truth because honesty makes you feel bad. The entire time you talked about how you normally do things with your friends and family, and all it told me is that you're not very adaptable. But yeah, there was way too much unpleasant behavior and things said that show your true colors, and I don't want any further involvement. Then I blocked her, but I got a new phone and saw she read it. So that's that. I'm not hurt, but I'm really bummed about my Japan trip being
That is a bummer.
ruined.
But yeah, good that you freaking called her out on it.
Yeah, and at least you're not going to have any more trips ruined by this girl.
Or any interactions at all.
Goth Princess says, tell it, girl. And Goth Princess also says, please leave her to fend for herself.
Yeah.
100%. This is
no, honestly, yeah.
ridiculous.
Not stand for that.
But you know what else is ridiculous is this next story,
Woo.
which Sophia is going to read because I need to go to the bathroom.
Okay. La 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 la. My friend won't stop talking to a guy I broke up with, so I'm ending our friendship.
Oh.
My most recent ex was lazy. Best example is he never even had a job while I was with him. Due to that experience, I wanted the complete opposite. Financially stable, or at least cares about financial independence, as well as taking care of themselves. By the way, this comes from Honest Adeptness 1812 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I go to the gym 5 times a week and try to be as healthy as possible, subtracting the typical 20-year-old things, and only feel it's fair my partner cares equally about those 2 points. The reason I left my last relationship was a loss of attraction, mostly emotional, but also physically, and I didn't want to put myself back in that position. The relationship before that was extremely traumatizing and a 4-year relationship throughout all of high school. So I was pretty much in my hoe phase, focusing on myself. Get back out there.
And put out there.
I guess so. So now that I have some context on to that story, I, 20 female, have a friend. We'll call her Cindy. Cindy was talking to me and mentioned one of her friends found me attractive.
Let's go.
Ooh, Cindy, a little wing
person.
A wing woman.
person.
Awesome. Sent him my snap or number, no issue. I hung out with the guy friend about 3 times and knew off the bat I wasn't physically attracted to him, which is all I was interested in at that point. But he was nice, and I really didn't want to hurt his feelings or mess up my relationship with my friend. He also had some major red flags, like showing me his bank account the first time we ever hung out, which felt really manipulative and weird. But moving on. After the first time we hung out, I made it very clear I wasn't interested romantically, but he kept pushing. I met up with him 2 times to attempt to let him down easy. I told him I wasn't interested in any relationship or anything for a while, and that I would love to stay friends, but didn't want anything romantic. He started a 30-minute rant about how girls always do this, and then get into a relationship the next week, and how it's never the truth.
Siri, play All Girls Are the Same by Juice WRLD.
I assured him I didn't want anything romantic with him once again, which was the truth. This was in March, by the way. After another 30-minute rant, he asks if we could revisit the conversation after summer break. He said, I know you're attracted to me as much as I am to you, and I don't want to let it go that easily.
I'm just as hot as you, I swear.
I know that you cannot control yourself around me because you have such
Someone hold her
attraction.
back. Someone hold her back. She's gonna jump my bones.
It's gonna you want to jump my bones.
You're
Let's
getting
revisit
very
this
sleepy.
after
you
summer.
want to jump my bones.
I think after you take a minute or maybe 2 months, you'll realize that I am actually a viable contender. Now, the people pleaser in me couldn't tell him the truth of, I'm not attracted to you, because I really didn't want to hurt his feelings, and he is very overweight. I've been there, and being treated differently based on weight is a horrible thing, but I also can't help that I wasn't attracted to him. I agreed, honestly, to just be able to get out of the car and go back home. I had little contact with him after, but was still pretty close with Cindy. I texted her almost every day, so she was bound to find out if my situation had changed. I had also texted him and let him know I was cutting him off due to my circumstances and situation in June. In other words, he couldn't see me as anything besides a romantic interest, so I had to walk away, but I didn't say that. I was very vague about why and just kept it focused on myself. I had
Which
also
is smart, honestly.
What?
I feel like it's smart to focus on like
Yeah,
your,
just like, sorry, I am not looking for this. Yeah. Instead of, especially with a guy
especially
who's,
you're not. Yeah.
yeah, it seems like he won't.
I think it's the best way to let people down, where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you mentioned that you want this, and
I can't provide that.
I'm just not that right now.
Yeah. I had also had a conversation with Cindy way before breaking it off. This conversation mostly consisted of me saying it made me uncomfortable that she kept him updated on me and that I wouldn't continue the relationship if she couldn't separate her relationship with me and her relationship with Sam. Now, I understand they were friends first and that they are
You
very
say her
close.
relationship with Sam?
Sorry, with him.
Wait, what?
I looked up and one of the comments said Sam, and I accidentally said Sam. And her relationship with him. Now I understand they were friends first and that they are very close, but in mind, that was a clear boundary to prevent things like this next part of the story. When I came home for summer, I started hanging out with one of my childhood best friends again, and it just clicked. Like, I want to marry this man clicked. We started hanging out again in July and started dating in August. Woo!
All girls are the same. They say they don't want to be in a relationship, but then they get a relationship a week later. Is what that guy's gonna say. I see you. That's what he's gonna say. I see it coming. I see it coming.
Since I was so happy to find my person, I of course started showing my friends and sending pictures of us hanging out to them, including Cindy. That same night, I got a text message from said friend. He had let me borrow a sweatshirt for a bonfire months before, and honestly had forgotten about it. He started talking about how he wants it back, but I can also just throw it away if I wanted. It was really weird. I practically had to beg him to just take it back because it's an expensive sweatshirt and I felt bad. I know in some senses I let him on and I was a butt for that, but I genuinely just didn't want to hurt him. However, the other part of me is so upset that Cindy continues to talk about me with him, knowing I have never shared as much info with him as I have with her. In addition, this isn't the first time she got in the middle of it and made the situation a lot worse for me.
So she's trying to wing woman, but do it too forcefully.
Do it way too forcefully. After she tried to wing woman, it failed. The wing crashed and burned.
Yeah, you can wing once. You
She
don't need to
winged
wing
woman
twice.
a little close to the sun. And now, like Icarus, she's falling to the sea.
Yep. Her feathers are falling off.
Her
The wax is
feathers
melting.
are gone.
Yep.
By the way, you can join us live on YouTube every weekday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Just tap our profile.
3 p.m. PST.
So would I be the a-hole for cutting Cindy off for completely disrespecting a clear boundary? Or should I just have a follow-up conversation since this will be the only time I have had that issue? Also, I know I let him on and that makes me a D to him. I fully acknowledge and see the error in my ways, but like I said, I was in a who phase, and everyone was aware of that throughout the whole thing. In addition, we've never spoken of relationship or anything like that. He just really wanted to date me, and the feeling wasn't mutual.
Really quick, Tony Spilakos has a good point. BS, he wasn't let on. He wasn't promised
I also
anything.
agree. I was going to say at the end, he wasn't let. She didn't lead him on.
But it is also true that when you have, spicy sleep with someone, often there are emotions that get involved and it's never as clean as you want it to be.
Yeah.
There's always like someone that gets emotions.
Yeah. Someone catches
feels.
In addition, we never spoke of a relationship or anything like that. He just dated me in the mutual. Last bit of context, I never let him buy me anything unless he literally yelled at me to take whatever it was, the coffee, which was also very off-putting and concerning. Take the coffee!
Please!
Do you know how much money on my bank account? You can literally take 500.
I can buy you 5 coffees with the money I got.
I have so much money for coffee.
All right, you took the coffee. Now you have to be my girlfriend.
That's
how it
the
works.
rules.
That's how it works. Those
We
are the
live in a barter
rules.
economy. I give you coffee.
You give me love.
relationship. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
why
it.
is this friend doing that?
A weird friend.
Are they
Icky.
bored?
Guess so. Miss Jaybird says this guy is very bad at introspection. If all the girls are saying they aren't interested relationship with you, but then end up coupled weeks later, they just aren't into
Yeah, I feel like they like the idea of you, but not you.
Yeah,
The idea
nice
of a
guys
girlfriend.
are rarely ever
Nice.
nice.
I think they're just like beta mean.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're just mean.
They're not. Yeah, they're just mean, but
But
like
they
beta
can't-
about it.
yeah.
Beta, I shouldn't use that word, but like they're non-confrontationally mean or needy.
No,
I don't even think it's non-confrontational. I think they can be confrontational. I think that they just also have low self-esteem.
Maybe it's more like they are mean through playing up the fact that they're a victim.
Yes.
I hate my husband's best friend. Now he wants a divorce. My 32 female husband, 41 male, decided to host a friend of his at our house for 2 weeks. I normally enjoy house guests, but this friend is a walking red flag, and I am 27 weeks pregnant with 3 children, 5 male, 3 female, 1 male, and I will call this friend Dick.
Just his name.
Oh, this comes from Pups and Sups on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, Dick abandoned his pregnant wife and stepdaughter 8 years ago without a word. They were left with no money and no clue what happened to him for months. He wouldn't even pick up the phone, not even on his daughter's birthday.
No.
I know because my husband and I took them in and had them stay with us while they were trying to figure things out. The vicious comments to her about her weight and appearance before he disappeared all made sense when it came out that he was living with another woman he had been cheating on her with throughout the pregnancy.
No.
She was pregnant. That's why she was gaining weight. There was a human
growing
growing inside her.
Growing a human.
Didn't know until after the whole incident that my husband knew the whole time exactly what his friend was doing and said nothing. Complicit?
Implicit.
Is it his monkey and circus?
It's his monkey and circus.
Should he do the classic OK Storytime move of the anonymous
You tell. Oh.
the anonymous tell?
Anonymous tell.
Yeah, like, hey, you don't know me, but
You
your
don't
husband
know
is
me.
cheating me. Wink.
Your husband is cheating me.
Your husband is cheating on you.
Your husband's cheating.
send evidence through a fake account.
Yeah.
Yeah, you slip evidence. You slip a little letter under the door.
Yeah.
Virtually.
I've been
you don't know
watching you.
me.
In my opinion, he failed to protect the vulnerable woman and child and chose to protect his friend. In his opinion, he told his friend it was wrong, but it was not his place to say anything. You know, I've seen both sides of this argument. You know, I've seen not my monkey, not my circus. And I've seen you should tell someone who is being affected by cheating that this is happening. I think what we've come to on the show, that the best way to do it is just to say something anonymously,
Yeah.
especially if you don't have a relationship with that person.
Yeah. Yeah. If you do, then I should think you should
Yeah.
tell them.
If the husband
your friend, then
and
tell.
if your husband is friends with that guy's if with your husband's friend's wife,
Yes.
then you should tell because there's a relationship there. If
Yes.
not, it should just be anonymous.
Agreed.
In his opinion, he told his friend it was wrong, but it was not his place to say anything. He also saw the bawling toddler on her birthday, wondering where her dad was.
And again, also, why
sad.
would you want to be friends with this person?
Yeah, exactly. Over the years, I've always kept my guard up around this friend. I opt out of outings that include him. I am cordial at best and unfriendly generally to him. I honestly cannot forgive Dick even 8 years later. Despite knowing my feelings towards Dick, my husband invites him to stay at our home for long stretches. He says I am not allowed to disagree about Dick
What do you mean
staying
you're not
with
allowed
us.
to disagree? What is this? A freaking
Communist-
dictatorship?
Oh, yes!
I gotta be honest. I didn't realize I was making that pun until it came out of my mouth.
It was great. I need to be friendly to him and nice when he is around because he didn't harm me or my children personally. Dear husband says he's allowed to have friends and I'm being unreasonable about the situation. But if you have friends that have these kind of morals,
Yeah, why would you want to be friends? That was
does
such a
that
good
not say
pun.
something about you? My husband manages a small business and it takes up his time at odd hours. I work a very demanding job and travel frequently, but it allows me to contribute on par with my husband. At the time of Dick's arrival, I was gone or working long hours, far from home the whole first week he was there. On the weekend, I was looking forward on spending time with my children. It had been very hard working 55 hours that week while very pregnant. Opie's pregnant, by the way.
Opie's still freaking pregnant.
And I admittedly had a short fuse. My husband tried to insist that Dick take all the kids to the beach down the street without us while we catch up on work I could not do while I was working long hours, and I lost it. I was extremely upset that my husband was trying to force the kids off with someone I do not trust in bathing suits for hours. It might have been the pregnancy hormones, but I was scared for the kids and did not want them around Dick at all after that. Dick mercifully only drove the kids to the end of the street and brought them back because of how upset I was about the whole thing. Dick does not have custody of his own children with 2 different women and was at my house for Father's Day instead of seeing them. Really quick, do we think that reaction from OP is warranted with Dick's behavior?
I think I understand the pregnancy hormones, especially because maybe a little bit much, but 1, pregnancy hormones, and 2, she has said she's uncomfortable, and the husband has said, I don't care.
Yeah, I think it does feel maybe a little bit much to be like that distrustful of the husband's friend. But again, we have seen his morals.
Yeah.
And the morals are not high. And do you want your kids being influenced by someone, even if it's not like a whole, like if he's not a PDF or a groomer or whatever, right? Like Sophia Collins says, you never know, he could be a groomer. Even if it's not that, do you want your kid hanging out with someone?
Someone's like, oh, women just cheat on them.
Yeah. Do you want your kids influenced by that? I don't think so. I do think it's a little bit far to go the whole bathing suit route, but I understand pregnancy hormones and all that too.
Yeah.
But let me know what you guys think. Do you think she's justified in saying that? Do you think not? Let us know. I don't know any of the custody or divorce information, but a dad not seeing their own children while spending time with other children is a red flag to me. Dick and my husband have been good friends for longer than I have known them, and my dear husband is livid that I cannot trust Dick. Dear husband is usually laid back and kind, but he has yelled and started swearing at me because of my refusal to get along with Dick. Here is where I'm probably the a-hole. The next day, after I lost it on my husband about Dick taking the kids without supervision, I tried to work out a schedule where I could spend time with the kids and with my husband. My husband let me know that I could spend time with my 1-year-old during nap time because he doesn't want to spend any time around me while I'm acting upset with him and Dick. I let him know that I am taking the kids and he can spend all the time with Dick he wants. I took the kids out for a fun day, stayed at a hotel with them to avoid my husband and Dick. Dear husband did not contact me until late that night, and I let him know we were safe. I didn't want to have to physically get away from them, but I felt like I had to because my husband was not allowing me to have any say about my home or my children. I wanted to protect them and myself since my husband sees no reason to protect anyone from Dick. Miss Jaybird says, why would she trust him? D says she's justified. Duchess Cassandra says, divorce this loser. Tony's Spiliaco says Dick will never take care of my kids until he proves he can consistently take care of his own. Josephine Madolo Burquest says divorce. Dear husband and I went to counseling the next day, and he threatened divorce.
Oh my God.
He thinks that I am completely wrong for getting away from the house, for wanting his friend to stay at a hotel instead of our home, for not being a good hostess or friend to Dick myself. I don't think I'm being unreasonable, wanting a say in my home late in my pregnancy with all my young children. Really quick, pausing right here. What do you think, Sophia?
I think that OP is valid in not wanting him in her home.
Yeah.
And I think it shows a lot about the husband's character, that he still wants to be friends with this guy.
Yeah, and also have him around his kids and stay so long with the fact that he's so
and also yelling
terrible.
and swearing at her when she's trying to express feelings of uncomfortable, being
You
uncomfortable.
got to protect your home.
Jenny Lopez says, plot twist, he's cheating with Dick. Maybe. I work really hard to provide for my family, and I don't want anything to happen to them. I'm more scared to be angry, to be honest, and we don't want anything to happen to you and you to miss anything, so you should join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile. Dear husband thinks I'm holding a grudge and that I hate his friend because of his neglect of his family all those years ago. Dear husband said I am evil for not forgiving and forgetting what happened, especially since it didn't hurt me or my children. I think I am not being unreasonable, but the way my husband keeps going on about this being my personality and I'm just a dark, unhappy person makes me feel like I'm going crazy. My family agrees and is supportive of my actions, but I still don't know if I'm the a-hole here. So is OP the a-hole?
No, I think you should get out of there. I think he is kind of gaslighting you.
We don't know all the context.
No, we
of,
don't. But we do know his reaction, and his
Yeah.
reaction, I think, alone is a red flag.
Yeah, and the fact that he cheated. Like, let's say I had a friend that was, swearing like a sailor, didn't have any filter, maybe was morally dubious. One, I don't know if I would hang out with that person, but two, I definitely wouldn't want them around my kids. So
Yeah.
if I was to hang out with them, I would hang out with them far away from the people I care about.
Also, wait, I might have misunderstood, but I thought that the husband was swearing at OP.
Oh, husband also was swearing at
Oh, they
OP,
both
but
were you're just saying
but
it
like
was, yeah.
the guy, this is just like a scenario.
Got you.
Yeah. Dutch Kasana says gas lamping. Her husband is gas lamping you.
Gas lamping.
Yeah, I think OP is. I would just take a hard look on the husband and think like, are you sure that this is someone you want to be around that has friends like this? But let me know. Let me know if you think OP is overreacting or not.
I told my friend that I slept with his sister. Now he wants to end the friendship.
I wonder why.
So Jason Slay says, John and I are both in our 40s.
Oh, no.
He was my friend through middle school and most of high school. We hung out together, played the same sports, did church, summer camp, etc. Basically, we grew up together. I also knew and spent time with his sister, Mary. Mary has cerebral palsy and uses an electric wheelchair.
Wait, he slept with Mary?
We don't know yet. After graduating, John went to university while I stayed back home to work at my father's business and go to community college part-time. Mary also went to community college and we ended up hanging out a lot. John and his family liked the idea of me being like a big brother to Mary.
Oh, God.
Mary and I grew close and we began having spicy sleep.
What?
We weren't exactly dating, but it was a lot of fun for both of us. Because Mary's family is very protective of her, we both agreed to keep our relationship a secret. Eventually, her family found out, and there was an ugly confrontation with me and them. They accused me of taking advantage of Mary because of my familiarity with her and because she was disabled. Mary insisted she wanted the relationship, but they dismissed her views like they always did.
Wait,
I will say,
is she? But she's not like mentally handicapped or anything.
No. I think that the family is being overly protective of her and kind of infantilizing her.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Dude, Mary's got to get down sometimes.
She got needs. Jellybus says, hey, she got needs too.
Yeah.
Mary insisted she wanted the relationship, but they dismissed her views like they always did. John was especially angry at me, even trying to start a fist fight. My father got involved and things eventually settled down, but my friendship with John and his family was over. I ended up leaving the area after I got my associate's degree and moved out of state to live with my mother. So 2 decades have passed. I have stayed in contact with Mary, but only exchanged basic pleasantries with John and his family.
Okay.
They are still connected with my father, so it's just a courtesy relationship. 2 weeks ago, Mary came to my city and we met for lunch. It was a company event with her coworkers and vendors, but I still enjoyed seeing her again after so many years. We continued the evening at her hotel room.
Okay.
And I ended up spending the night with her.
Let's freaking go.
This Saturday morning, I woke up to find a message from John. We've barely communicated for the last 20 years, so I was startled to see his name. Apparently, he'd gotten around to looking at the pictures Marion posted from the lunch and saw me sitting next to his sister.
She's like so adult though.
Yeah, this is an adult woman. This is literally an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Villain SMC says this is ableism in the reverse way. Yeah.
Isn't it just ableism?
Huh?
Isn't it just regular old ableism?
Well, like it's like ableism in the reverse way, where it's like, oh, we're trying to protect our person and make sure she's like, safe from everything. It's still ableist, but it's not like oh, you can't. Well, I guess it is. Yeah, you can't do this.
Yeah, it's just because you're like, oh, you're.
But
you're
it's able. I guess it's like ableism from the perspective of trying to be protective and helpful rather than in like trying to be detrimental or exclusionary.
Yeah,
I guess basically doing that. I guess that's
I think a lot of ableism does
about.
come from like a place of, oh, you're like infantilizing basically.
Yeah.
It was like we had teleported back in time to 20 years ago. The same accusations and angry insults got flung at me. Oh my God, get over it. He dredged up crap I had forgotten about years ago. He ended his message warning me not to spend time with Mary. Mary
who
is
is
an
good
adult
for your
woman.
but and who do you want to
Yeah.
your sister to be with?
It's ridiculous.
Like, does he go do this for every person that she dates?
Yeah. I was outraged by his message. We're two grown men, not high school kids. How can he say those things about me and his sister? In my anger, I messaged him back saying that not only did I spend time with Mary, but that we slept together again. And he should get over himself.
Get wrecked. And
Damn.
here's the video.
Oh
No. I don't think he should. I don't think he should like necessarily rub like that. That's him and Mary's thing.
No, I'm kidding. You shouldn't show a video.
No,
of it.
not the video. I just mean in general. I don't know if you should tell the brother that they slept together. It felt good to retaliate like that, but I immediately had doubts. When I talked with Mary, she wasn't upset, but she made it clear that she would have preferred I just ignore her brother like she does. We still are keeping our plans to see each other again, but I realize Mary is disappointed by my childish behavior.
Yeah, it is. It is childish because that's like you said, it's a moment between
Mary and
him, and you know she doesn't. Obviously, her brother's already in her business. She doesn't need her brother even more in her business. You know.
Yeah. So, am I the a-hole for my reply to John? I think so. Not because John, is a good person. He sucks, but just because it affects Mary as well.
You got to be the bigger person in the situation.
Yeah.
But there is an update. I hope they get into a relationship. So after reading the comments, I am not the a-hole for my relationship with Mary, obviously, but my response to John was unacceptable.
Fair.
That's fair. I've apologized to Mary and she's accepted my apology. That doesn't change the fact that I screwed up for sharing intimate details without first asking Mary. I am the a-hole. I will never do that again.
Whoa, he learned.
As for the fallout of my a-hole moment, John sent another nasty message that got even more personal, including telling me some things about our past and my father that were very hurtful. Following the advice of the comments, I replied calmly and then blocked him. As I mentioned in my post, I will be seeing Mary again. Yes, love.
Let's frickin' go.
I am spending this spring/summer back home with my father. After his wife passed last year, he decided to wind down his business and sell our old house. I will be going back there for about 3 months to help him with the business, fix a few things at the house, help him pack, and just hang out together. It's several decades of memories to be put away or donated, so we're taking our time. We'll barbecue and go to baseball games like we did when I was a kid. So sweet. Yeah, the Tomlet says snaps for OP for growth.
Let's go. Let's go, OP.
Growth. Mary and I are looking forward to seeing each other again this summer. Our weekend together was memorable, despite my later stupidity. There's a fair chance John will come and try and stir crap up again, but I'm not stressing over it. Mary means a lot to me. It will be good to have 3 months to enjoy each other's company before I have to leave again. This time for good.
I love that.
This is so sweet.
This is sweet.
Wait, there's a little bit more.
Okay.
I'm sure Mary and I will stay in touch, maybe even see each other again in the future. Thank you for all the comments and messages. I read them all, and Mary did too.
Wait, so are they not going to
I don't
get
know
into
if they're not
something?
getting
I
together.
thought they were going to get together.
I want them to get together.
Aw.
Come on.
It was kind of cute.
It is cute.
It was cute. Oh, well, that's the end of that.
That's the end of that story.
So everyone's the a-hole, but we have character development.
Yeah, we had
Well,
growth.
except Mary. Mary's not the a-hole.
That's true. My best friend started spreading lies about me, so I cut her off.
Good. I hate liars.
And this comes from Carl's Junk Mail, who says, I, 22 female, previously posted about ending my friendship with BFF, 22 female, which I now know was the right move, but now she's begun to escalate.
Best fake friend.
Yeah, not a very good BFF. A weekend ago, I was at a farmer's market with my mother, 57 female, eating lunch. A girl and her boyfriend, 23 female and 22 male, who I will call C, F, or female, who I will call Callie and Simon, walk past. I recognized them from high school, but was only friends with him, and he had a crush on me. About 5 minutes later, Callie comes stopping up to my mother and I with Simon in tow and shouts, "Can I effing speak to you for a second?" Without even allowing me to answer, she berates me with all of these allegations BFF had said about me.
What happened to the BFF friendship?
She and a BFF.
Why is she spreading rumors?
She's spreading rumors to Callie and Simon. I hate conflict, but I try my best to stay calm and de-escalate the situation. I would attempt to the best of my ability to surmise the important bits of this conversation, However, she sat there and talked to me for 45 minutes, so that is somewhat off the table. So instead, I will go more order of events. Number 1, Callie and Simon see me. Number 2, Callie talks to BFF, who is also at the market, and tells her she's going to confront me and asks for what I said verbatim. She comes over to confront me about the things I said and asking, why did you say X and why? Number 4, Callie brings up intimate details of B. Is B the BFF?
B is maybe the boyfriend?
We actually don't know who B is. Of B and I's relationship. I'm assuming boyfriend then. Ben and I's relationship, which are extremely irrelevant to whatever her issue with me is. Number 5, I stay as calm and neutral as I can to de-escalate things. Number 6, by the end, Callie is calmer and says we should hang out sometime. Then leaves to a wedding she has in 30 minutes. Wait, what?
So you guys
She
became
comes over.
friends?
She comes over, she starts screaming at you. She's like, why would you say all this? And, oh my God, your relationship with your boyfriend is crazy, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, sorry about that. Love to hang out.
Yeah, let's be friends.
Let's be friends.
Let's go to a wedding.
See you
Can
soon.
Can we actually get married?
What was said in the conversation was extremely hurtful, immature, and irrelevant. So the reason I bring it up is because of all of what Callie was saying to me was said by BFF. Someone who, even after everything that happened with Ben, I cared about. Because 8 years of care and reverence and love doesn't go away. I am hurt that I thought so highly of BFF for so long and that she could do this. I now fear further escalations and am taken aback by the immaturity of the whole. I'd like to make very clear that I do not care about what Callie and Simon think of me. They have only known BFF for 7 months and clearly love drama and a fight. 2 things I personally feel uncomfortable with. I am strictly concerned with BFF's confidence in escalating. Is there anything I should do to prevent further escalations? And edit, I bring up that Simon thinks I'm cute because initially this is why I thought I was getting confronted. I didn't clarify that in the post though. It's irrelevant since I did not end up scrubbing the entirety of the conversation with C. Oops. And there are some relevant comments.
How old is OP
responds.
again?
Like 22?
Yeah.
Okay,
22.
they are giving teenager for some reason.
I mean, it's because it's like
It's
like
just,
drama.
yeah, it's all high school drama.
Yeah, it's all it's lame.
Yeah, but there is.
I mean, definitely distance yourself from BFF.
Yeah.
If she's giving intimate details of your life, she's using like the stuff that you tell her in confidence against you. So it's like
Yeah.
dude,
not okay.
clout chasing.
cloud
Agreed.
chasers.
Have you seen those memes where it's like, my mom just told the deepest, darkest secret for some
For the other
Thanksgiving
mom's
clout?
clout. Yeah.
Just for
But relevant comments. Oh God, what a day. Says your ex-best friend sounds horrific. It's like she is jealous of you and taking it out on you. This is hard. On one side, you can continue to ignore her and be the bigger person. If she lies about you and someone approaches you, continue to handle things with the same maturity you've had through this. But there's the other side where you can confront her. What she's doing is not cool and things need to be addressed, especially if you still consider her your best friend. But I feel like that's what she wants. She wants to get a rise out of you and create drama. Either way, she's not a good friend. She's acting super shady and being a bully. B said she was being very mean about you, and I believe him. Her behavior only confirms that she has issues with you. It's super immature on her part to not just talk to you about it directly. And OP responds, thankfully, I have a couple other friends that I would consider closer than her, one of whom had her own smear campaign headed by BFF. I just wish people would stop listening to what she says and that she would get help. I feel bad for anyone who has to feel this jealous of their friend.
Yeah, dude.
And that
well,
is
she's
the
not
end of
gonna
the
have
story.
many friends for very long with this behavior.
No sirree.
No
Bob.
siree. And she doesn't deserve any friends.
She doesn't freaking deserve those friends, man. She doesn't deserve them.
Big
You-
old ick.
Yucky, yucky, yucky.
You know what? It's a win though. Our OK Storytime phone case. You can't get it anywhere.
yeah, you really can't.
No.
You have to have like a specific file and go to a specific place to make that happen.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Agreed. My best friend is way too close to my husband. I think she likes him. That's not, you should get her away. Get her further away. Throw away because my husband stalks Reddit. Also, I know he isn't cheating on me. He's at home more often than not, and I have full access to his electronics, as does he to mine. Note, some identifying details have been changed to protect my privacy, such as names. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Bestie and Hubby on the OK Storytime subreddit. My husband and I have been together since we were young teenagers. We got married last year and have a 6-month-old daughter together. She is the light of both our lives as we both come from broken homes and want a better life than we lived growing up. My best friend came a few years later. We used to live in the same neighborhood and casually began to hang out. She lives with both of her parents and siblings as she's studying to get her bachelor's degree. At first, she didn't like my husband, said that he was clingy and tried to insert himself into our friendship. WTF? She was civil to him because he was my romantic partner. For context, my husband is bipolar, type 2, autism, and PTSD, and it causes him to be a little socially awkward and miss certain social cues and taboos. I love him regardless of it all. Over the last few years, we've been hanging out a lot more. She comes over for a few drinks, we go to movies, and even visit local attractions together. We all three have a good time, and my husband does try to make nights for just the two of us often too. However, last year, my husband and I found out we were expecting a child together in January. I was working and fell ill because at the time I was working at a fast food place. I threw up and went to the doctor. Come to find out, I was 8.5 weeks pregnant. Ooh, that's a big surprise. My life changed and I became more busy to get myself ready for motherhood. My best friend saw me less and less and we couldn't talk as much. My husband and I got married almost 1.5 months after discovering we were going to be parents. That's when our dynamic changed. Recently, I applied to school and am currently in college trying to get a law degree so I could become a paralegal and get to law school. I'm also a stay-at-home mom while doing college too. I've been super busy. One day, my husband gets a text and it's from my best friend. Why is she texting the husband? That's weird. She asks if they can talk as she was upset. He took the phone call with me protesting and a few minutes later said, Sandra, fake name, we need to go get Carla. Her father is picking a fight with her. I get upset as we were watching a movie together and I had just gotten the baby down for bed. We go to her house, which is about 20 minutes away, and she stays with us for a night. As I get our daughter back down to bed, Carla asks to cuddle with the two of us in our bed. No. I would say no. My first thought is no. I was hesitant. I have issues with claustrophobia due to a traumatic experience as a child. My husband gave the go-ahead. We settle in for the night. Carla's dad apologized and she heads back home. Once she was gone, I blew up on my husband. What he did was not only inappropriate, but was disrespectful to my boundaries. Why did she even ask that? I'm confused. Ever since when she has an issue with her dad, she calls my husband and vents. And also, we read another, I know it's not this same story, but we read another similar story where another girl was like, can I cuddle with you and your partner? Why is that happening? I mean, unless you, I don't know, I guess you can have that relationship, but like, I feel like that's everyone's like, yeah, come cuddle. Like the people, yeah. The partners are like, come cuddle. Not, I don't know. This is weird. One day, while my in-laws were staying with us, my mother-in-law overheard a convo with my hubby and Carla. She was concerned and asked me if I was okay with it. I said, no, not really, but every time I bring it up, he gets defensive, saying that she needs help, that she's going through a hard time, blah, blah, blah. It is important to note that my mother-in-law was cheated on in the past by her ex, my husband's father. We are also extremely close and she sees me as a daughter. She hates cheaters with a passion, and my husband, who I will refer to as James, was using the same excuses his father did. Yeah, I feel like this goes to me at least, it goes beyond, autism and bipolar. OP is being very clear about her feeling and saying, I'm not comfortable with this. And he's still not listening, which is pretty disrespectful. She asked to speak to him privately and walked to our living room. They got into a heated match and James apologized to me. He said he didn't know that it was hurting me and causing issues in our marriage, but OP said it. And Nikki Wolf says, I think you've read this. Again, we've read a similar story. I did do like this sounds similar, but it's not the same one because I remember the other story. But there was another story where someone was like, can I cuddle with you and your partners? Why does this keep happening? I asked him, how would he feel if I had asked him if another man could sleep in the bed with us? He kind of deflated and tried to say, it's different, blah, blah, blah. His stepfather, Mark, fake name, spoke up and said, it is the same. You're uncomfortable with it. So is she. Quit with the excuses. James respects Mark quite a lot, actually. Mark raised him since he was 8, and his own father was in and out of the picture. Once the dust settles, my husband truly apologized to me for his actions and said that he would do better. I kissed him, and that was that. Duchess Cassandra says, I would set up some boundaries and leave if he continues to act like this. Yeah, there is more. But before we get into it, Sam's back.
Hello.
Yeah, so basically, OP has her husband, and she has this best friend who she kind of like felt like was getting not as close to because she got pregnant and then is taking care of the kid and just didn't have time to prioritize that friendship. And then one night, the friend calls her husband and is like, hey, I need you to come over. I'm having a fight with my dad. And so they both go over, and the friend comes and stays at their house and then like asks to cuddle with them. And she's like, I don't want that. But her husband's like, no, let her cuddle. And so that happens. And then they keep having this kind of like, she keeps coming to Opie's husband for emotional support.
Oh, God.
And Opie's like, I'm not comfortable with this. And he's like, no, it's fine. And Opie said, well, he has autism and bipolar. But Opie's been pretty clear about not being comfortable with this and saying, I don't want you to do this. And he's still brushing it off.
I smell stink. I smell a stink.
Yup. However, I wouldn't be right here if that was the end of the issues. Lately, Carla has been calling him 3 to 8 times a day.
That is too much.
That's
way
many
too
times.
much.
I don't call anyone 3 to 8 times. Well, I call people maybe max 3, but I don't call people 8 times a day.
That's too much.
She says it's because she's bored and has no one else to talk to. I snap. I call him out over the nonchalance about the situation. How when she calls, he answers. How it's making me feel like a third wheel in my marriage, etc. His response, she's just lonely. You're letting it get to you. That night, I slept in the living room. I'm starting to suspect that she's trying to monopolize his time. She calls him for over an hour each time he calls. They talk. She complains about her life, etc. Almost like she's his girlfriend or something. I'm starting to find this relationship troubling. It's getting to the point that it is affecting my marriage. Where do I go from here? Any advice would be appreciated. And there is a little edit.
Some harsh boundaries need to put up. But
your
husband isn't
He's not
setting
listening.
the boundaries. He's not listening.
Yeah, I mean, you're telling him, hey, I'm uncomfortable with this. I don't want you to keep doing this. And he's like, no, you don't get it. She needs help.
But what doesn't he not get?
I don't know. No. He's telling her.
Or
that
sorry,
she
I
doesn't
mean, well,
get it.
what does she not get? I don't understand.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to comfort a friend.
Yeah.
On a call, like a couple, times a week, but
Yeah.
every day,
When you have a
multiple times a
baby?
day for multiple hours a day. Because if it's an hour every time they call and it's 3 to 8 calls a day,
Yeah.
that's a whole day.
They fully have like a baby. They have a baby.
Yeah.
And he's acting like this.
I smell stink. I smell stink.
I smell stink.
I smell stink.
Edit. Thanks everyone for the feedback. I'm going to have a talk with him with his mom involved. He won't listen to me if I don't. I'm tired of fighting him over this. I should have an update with the resolution in a couple days. I'm going to read everyone's responses more thoroughly. Thanks for the advice. And edit number 2.
Wait, really quick.
Yes.
If the only way that he will listen to her
Is his mom.
is if his mom's there,
Not a good sign. If your partner is not listening to you without like an outside person stepping in, then they don't respect you.
yeah, I think there are a lot of red flags in this relationship.
So many.
A lot.
Edit number 2. My husband and I had a sit-down talk. His mother and stepfather weren't available. He promised me that he would explain everything in detail. I called Carla and she said that we would talk Friday when she wasn't busy with school. She had something she needed to air out. I will have an update on Friday, hopefully. Cheating.
Oh no.
Cheating. Edit number 3. I woke up to a text from Carla this morning. She actually wants to talk to me tonight alone. As her schedule has changed, we are going to have a heart-to-heart. Hopefully, I will have some news. Edit number 4. Hey. I need some time. I will post an update later on. My heart is hurting. Hubby and I are getting a divorce. Thank you for understanding, everybody. Whoa! And there are some additional comments from OP, but oh my God, we just jumped. What did she find out?
It went 0 to 100.
She was like, we're going to have a chat about him listening to me. We're getting divorced?
You got to give us context.
Whoa!
You got to give us context.
There are some additional comments. Man, oh man. Oh, but before we get into the additional comments, there's a Discord chat.
What?
Hold on.
Show me.
Hold on.
Addie, can we pull it up on screen?
It's in general chat.
Can you pull it up? It's in general chat. Grubbing on these.
Yeah, doing it.
Should I just read it? Or are we waiting?
No, put it on chat.
You don't know what happened. No one knows what the answer was. Poker face.
Yeah. It could be anything.
Could be anything. I could be screaming about a dog that someone posted about.
3, 2,
2 3/4.
2 3/4. 1.
Ah! Oh wait, is that it?
Where
Go
is it?
down. Scroll down.
Scroll down.
Scroll down, please.
Scroll down.
Ah, there we go. Okay. Steel Riot Gaming at Sophia in response to Dark Lilith proposal. I do.
Scroll up. Scroll
She's
up.
impatient. I'm still gonna do it on my own. LOL. Woo! That's what I
Let's
knew.
go.
That's what I knew. Congratulations. That's amazing. This is so exciting. Oh my God. Woo.
Oh.
I'm so happy.
Congrats.
Congrats. This is amazing.
Sophia the second in response to Dark Lilith 86 proposal. I do. She's impatient. I'm still going to do mine. That's so cute.
This is so cute.
It's a double proposal.
Double proposal.
Oh.
It's so cute. I'm so happy for you
Okay,
guys.
wedding time is what I'm seeing in chat.
Mm.
Oh, our first proposal. And there was a yes.
It was a yes. This is lovely, guys. I love you. I love
When
you
are you getting
all.
married?
Yeah.
What,
When are you I know
Yeah.
you just proposed.
yeah. When are you getting married? Tell us right now. And are we invited?
Put it in the Discord. Tell us everything. Because so many congratulations. Put some hearts in the chat. Put some congratulations in the chat.
Wow. Congrats
Incredible.
in the chat.
What a day.
Wow.
What a day.
What a day.
Man, oh man. Now we got to talk about this divorce.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
But with a lighter heart, because I have more faith. I quit my job after I found out I was pregnant. I became a stay-at-home mom. Believe it or not, people can have inheritance and have no bearing on job status. My soon-to-be ex-husband is a construction worker who makes good money. I only worked for my own satisfaction at being able to pay for stuff. His uncle was a financially sound man who had no children. That's when my ex got the house. We were looking at getting our own house soon before he passed away. And relevant comments, aggravating Owl says, you've set your boundaries and he continues to cross them. Is this how you want your marriage to be? She won't stop as long as your husband responds to her every time. OP says, you're right. I have issues standing up for myself. Zealous Ideal Oil says, does he not understand how badly that reflects on him that he's unwilling to explain his actions to his own wife, seeing the pain and distress you are in regarding the situation? Or does he simply not care because he has feelings for her? In my opinion, if there was no cheating involved, he could have reassured you about that, but explain what was going on with Carla was a personal matter that she needed to share with you herself. Opie says, sometimes he thinks I'm too emotional. I have PTSD and BPD, and he doesn't understand my disorder. He doesn't understand that I feel things intensely or passionately, or that it is super easy to hurt my feelings. He never even tries to understand me, autism or not. Honestly, I'm considering cutting my losses and going through divorce anyway. It's not worth the emotional anguish he put me through each day, and there is an update, and we kind of already know where it's going. Do you have any thoughts before we jump in?
I kind of just want to jump in.
Let's
and
jump.
Get it over with.
The update is hard. Everything about this situation sucks, and I don't know if I will be okay for some time. Baby and I are currently staying with my friend Tanya. To start, James and I are getting a divorce. Carla is no longer a friend to me or mutuals. The betrayal is too deep for her to be friends with our group. As most of you assumed, James and Carla are indeed having an affair.
And also it was like so out in the open.
Yeah. Like not even hiding.
Not even trying.
It started about 3 months ago and just turned physical 1 month ago when they have a kid.
Ugh.
They were planning on just up and leaving after James served me divorce papers. They used the ruse that he was helping her through emotional issues to hide the fact. I was crushed. She wanted to clear the air before it got worse. That was when she dropped a huge bombshell. James was going to try and get me to terminate my rights to my child in order for Carla to adopt her. The reason my borderline diagnosis a few years ago made me unfit to be a mother, and he was sure that the courts would agree. She then handed me 2 separate stacks of paperwork and left. I am contacting a lawyer as I'm writing this. I was seriously hurt. You guys were right. Carla was a snake and only told me this so she wouldn't feel guilty. However, I am not letting my soon-to-be ex-husband bully me into termination of my rights. I called him afterwards and got very heated about what was going on. James just sat there in silence. I was crying afterwards. I pleaded with him to tell me what I did wrong. For a little bit of backstory, I had a near-fatal complication with my delivery of our daughter where I bled my entire labor. I had to have 2 blood transfusions and haven't fully recovered from it. I was not cleared for any extraneous activity for 3 months, including spicy sleep activity. James was getting unsatisfied with all my doctor's appointments and not getting the spicy sleep that he wanted. What is up with these terrible, terrible men? I was hurting and ended up needing another procedure to remove some placenta that didn't naturally come out. I had to have my tubes tied because if I have another child, I might not survive it. James wanted at least 2 more kids, and this put an end to his plans. I married a monster. We were together since we were 15, and this is how he repays me. I thought I knew him. He was acting so caring and nice to me. I'm absolutely heartbroken. I'm not even sure I'm going to update this anymore, but if I do, it'll be after after the divorce settles. Thanks for all your concern. I'm going to step back and take some time to adjust. There is no chance for a healthy co-parenting situation. I'm fighting for primary custody with supervised visits. Carla will not have any access to baby, as I will ask the judge to make a clause preventing her from interacting with my daughter. Thanks for all the advice, but we would never want to prevent you from interacting with us. Just join us live every weekday on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok.
Please.
Just tap our profile.
Just tap it.
It's very exciting every day. Even today, sometimes there's proposals. Sometimes there's babies.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get.
You never know.
And there might be a little secret stream thing happening on Friday.
Ooh,
a little
yeah.
new test stream at the end of the stream on Friday. So watch out for that. There's going to be more stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, someone's getting married. But there is an edit. I forgot to add that I contacted his mother and Mark this morning. They are furious that James is doing this to me. They are helping me foot the cost of a lawyer because I'm a stay-at-home mom and college student. They have kicked James out, and he is now staying at our old house with Carla. He did give me the courtesy to get my stuff and didn't put up a fuss about me taking what I wanted. He told me that he will keep in contact for divorce proceedings. And that is the end of that story. Man, oh man, yowza. I'm glad that you're no longer with this man, but I'm sorry how it ended.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Just really awful person. Oh, but that is the end of that episode.
That's the end of that episode,
Yeah.
which I guess we have just enough for
Yeah.
a full ep. Can we add another short one at the end? Addie, do you think you can add another short episode to this episode? Awesome. Yeah, that was a doozy.
Mhm.
Also, the whole like proposal was a doozy. I'm still geeking on that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. I'm not as brought down by this story because I was brought so up.
When you do more stuff like that.
You guys need to do more stuff like that.
Well, no, like just like I feel like obviously we love telling stories, but I think we want to try like doing more things on stream. And so we're thinking about like what that looks like.
Which you'll see a little bit on
Yeah,
Friday.
see a little bit on Friday. But I'm curious, like, what are some other things that you think like our community would want to partake in or watch, or like what would be
Check the
fun?
Discord. Dark Lilith says.
What's in the Discord? Hannah, another silent $55. We appreciate you.
Just a picture of Dark Lilith's kid. That's very cute.
Oh,
So cute. I love this.
little Santa.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, team needs to get ordained now. Jellyba says my daughters both were just ordained.
Oh, wait. Did you already say Hannah's?
Yeah.
Hannah,
Yeah.
thank you again. I'm
Yeah,
obsessed.
a silent donation from Hannah. Ghost
Observed.
Boo Lady, so we can pick whoever we want to marry us. Carly Ann says, y'all should go to the wedding. I think that would be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
Isn't there?
Alrighty.
Socrates says, dancing puppet shows. Sam, read my last post for just a second ago. Content idea. Where? Where do you put it? In the Discord? Hannah, and I appreciate all of you. We appreciate you too, Hannah.
We really appreciate you, Hannah.
Wait, is it in the Discord?
This one's a fun one, maybe. Actually, I don't know how it ends, but this might be a fun one.
Let's see. Wait, give me 2 secs. Is it? I don't see it in the Discord. Maybe I'm live streaming the wedding. Yeah, that would be cool. Jackbox stream on Friday, please.
Almost.
Maybe. We'll see. All right. You ready for this next one? John already promised an okay wedding live stream if it fit the vibe. He did. He did. That is true. That is true. And this is the first one. Ezekiel says, no, here you go. I seriously think we need a dating show for Sam, Dakota, and Keon. Let chat vote who they take on a date. Also want to see Sam go on a blind date with a literal blindfold.
Where are we getting these people?
Yeah, where are we sourcing these people?
We have to find people who are willing to be on a dating show.
Diana.
You know, they did that with like all the Minecraft gamers
What?
that I watched. They had like a dating shoting for all
Yeah.
these Minecraft gamers where they got like different, like Tommy Inna did it.
I mean, we could do like a dating show.
You don't.
It's just,
have
and also the dating show is like a lot. It's like a lot of prep and stuff. And so
Mhm.
it's pretty hard to do.
Yeah, it's a long shooting day.
Long shooting day. I've been in dating shows before
Mm-hmm.
for a very short amount of time. Okay. You ready? So
yeah.
My late best friend's wife cheated on him, but my wife supports her anyway.
my late best friend's wife. So like your dead best friend?
Yeah.
Wife cheated on him while he was alive or dead? I'm confused and I want more information.
Let's find out. My 32 male marriage with my wife, Mary, 31 female, feels like it's unraveling at the seams. I just have so much anger, disgust, and resentment inside me to the point that regular everyday living feels impossible.
Aw.
By the way, this comes from Greedy Orchard 7723 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I want to scream all the time, and it feels like I'll never ever be my carefree self again. Yes.
This is so OP. You can get through this. I hope.
No, just kidding. Yes, I am in therapy, and I have told my wife I really need to. I really think we need couple/marriage counseling too. She's thinking about it. This is long, so if you can be bothered to read it, buckle in.
This is gonna be fun.
My best friend, Ben, was my ride or die. We met when we were 5, and we were inseparable since then. We were there for each other during all of life's big moments and turns. His place turned into my second home when my parents went through their explosive divorce when I was 11. I was there for him and mourned with him when his younger sister passed away from cancer when we were 15 years old and she was only 10. You name it, we worked through it. He was the only one not to freak out on me when I decided to drop out of college to pursue a trade. There was never a moment where either of us were worried about the other's reaction or what they'd say or think. Ben was the type of guy people knew could make anyone feel better regardless of the situation.
Aw.
He always knew what to say and what you needed, even if you didn't agree with it at the time. He's the best person I have ever had the privilege of meeting, and the world was a better place with him in it. I unfortunately know I have to put a lot of this here. No, Ben and I were never in love with each other like that. We were just really close friends/brothers.
That's a beautiful relationship.
It is.
No.
It is. But if you ever said, hey, Ben, you looking good,
Well, you have to kiss.
Yep.
you might have to
That's
kiss.
the rule. That's the rule.
Ben met his wife, Sally, in his junior year of college, and I knew Sally was going to be the greatest love of his life. She was so open, warm, and adventurous. Like Ben, she had a smile that lit up the whole room and effortlessly made everyone feel like her best friend. Everyone, including myself, looked at them as the perfect couple everyone knows. They got married 2 years into dating. Ben always told me how excited he was to love, hold, and protect her forever.
I just like, when you're watching a movie and the guy's going to come out of the corner with a knife and stab someone.
We're in the first 3 minutes of Up right now.
I'm
First 3 minutes of Up.
I'm ready.
We're about to hit minute number 4, where all the ways he wanted to make her happy. He showed his love for her every day in his words and actions. I was so happy for him because I thought she did the same. I helped plan her.
Oh, I thought she did the same. Oh,
Lock in. Keep that in mind for later. I helped her plan a surprise 30th birthday party where he was reduced to tears upon seeing she spent hours making him a Mario Kart rainbow-themed cake.
Oh, wow.
That is kind of insanely fire. They talked about children, holidays, rescuing animals, growing their own fruits and vegetables. Sally quickly became a sister to me and became very close friends with Mary. The four of us went on countless holidays, helping each other through life's challenges, and went on at least one double date every 2 weeks, etc., etc. About 5 months ago.
no.
About 5 months ago, I woke up to 5 missed calls from Ben between the hours of 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. the night before, and I just had a feeling that something really bad had happened. I called out of work, and I drove straight to his place. Sally had been cheating on Ben pretty much their entire relationship.
Oh, I feel so bad for Ben. It's like, it's like when you think the love of your life is the love of your life, and then it just all crumbles into nothingness. That is one of the hardest heartbreaks.
You thought that the surprise birthday party knocked you off your feet. Well, wait till you get a load of this surprise.
Oh, man.
Sally. When Sally really met Harry while she was married to Ben. So when I confronted her and asked how she could do such a thing and why get married in the first place if you're just going to cheat the entire time, She broke down and told me it was more like living a double life. Because you see, Sally was/is gay.
That makes sense because my dad goes there to buy clippers at Sally's hairdresser thing
What?
because they have a lot of scissors.
She'd known since she was a teenager, but never felt like she could come out because of her conservative family. She met Ben and fell in love with him and counted on her feelings for women just somehow going away. She said she genuinely loved him as a person and a life partner, but that secret part of her only grew stronger and louder over the years. She casually dated and hooked up with women, telling Ben she was hanging out with friends from her hobbies/friend groups. He only found out the night she'd called me because one of the women Sally was seeing wanted to take their relationship further and freaked out when Sally broke up with her instead. This woman showed up to their house late at night and told Ben everything.
Oh.
Dude.
I mean, good on her.
Well, that
Like,
it
mean,
wasn't out of
yeah,
love.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, I'm trying to do the right thing.
I think
but
she's trying to hurt Ben and her. She's just like,
yeah.
I'm gonna lash out, and whoever catches the shrapnel is gonna get it.
But at least the truth came out. At least the truth came out. Ben is no longer living in a lie. But like, I don't know. Do you
The
want to live? Do you want to live in that truth? It's the Matrix, man. Like you're taking the red pill. But
Yeah.
that world is brutal.
The truth came out like Sally should.
Oh man.
But Ben was absolutely shattered.
Yeah, of course, dude. Oh.
He gave everything to Sally and loved her wholeheartedly, and it wasn't even the real her. She claimed to love him, but I can't help but think that she was using him. She lied to everyone, let us think she loved and adored Ben as much as he loved her, all so that she could have her cake and eat it too.
Oh.
I was quick to tell Ben he deserved better, but Sally apparently begged on her hands and knees,
No.
told him that she really did love him,
No,
and
Ben.
that she was willing to do anything to make it better.
No, Ben.
She's willing to do anything to make it better.
Ben, listen. Oh, Ben. Ben. It's like she. I think the issue is she doesn't know who she actually is, and so she's thinking that she can just like.
She's had no space to explore it. She's been
Yeah.
kind of forced to repress it by everyone for so long.
Yeah, dude.
It's
And hey, like, not saying that isn't hard, right?
Yeah. I do feel for her in that sense.
You know
for sure.
that is hard to really like explore and understand your own identity with an identity that is completely accepted is hard. Let alone identity that you feel like may not be. So, not at all trying to say that like what Sally to come to terms with that identity is like easy, but like you, man. You're just gonna destroy Ben. You need to be by yourself, discover who you are, and leave my boy Ben alone.
Yeah, like you can't. After all of this came out, like you can't then go and like, could we just stay together?
No.
So it's like that. That's the thing you really, really can't do. That's the thing you really,
You're gonna
really
laser
can't do.
off that beard. It ain't ever coming
my
back.
Goodness gracious. Well,
I see where this is going, though. I just hate it. I hate it. I put ICU in the chat if you see.
put them ICUs in the chat. She would never talk to any women ever again. They could move somewhere new and start fresh. All that bull crap. Ben fell into a deep depression because he realized he never knew the real Sally, but he did really love her. He agonized over what to do until he got hit by a wasted driver while out late on a night walk 2 months ago. If you thought our hearts could not break any further or harder, you thought wrong.
Ben is just getting hit with surprise after surprise.
Whew. Guys, this story is crazy. We're saying things we don't even understand.
First episode.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Damn, that sucks.
you know, it really sucks. It really is not good. It's not good. Well, I won't go into how it felt to lose him. I am sure you can all imagine. It was made worse by having that bee crying at his funeral, crying like he really was the love of his life and she was the perfect wife. It was the first time in my life I ever wanted to hit someone. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, man. I couldn't believe the audacity that she had to show her face around Ben's loved ones, especially the ones that knew the truth. Mary knows how I feel about Sally, and I thought she understood that Sally is finished to us. I know I can't dictate who a person should/can be friends with, but if I had a mutual friend with Mary that shattered her as much as Sally did to me, I'd cut them off with no question. I can't be friends with someone who hurts my loved ones like that.
Yeah. Also, I mean, such a like your character has been shown. Yeah. Why would you ever want to associate with someone who's like that terrible?
Yeah. Again, there is the I'll call it, for lack of a better way of describing, complicated factor of like, you know, her identity and just being able to be who she was repressed. Sure. But that and so I do feel for her in that, you know, specific thing. But that doesn't mean that you have to stay friends with her, you know, especially if it's like hurting your partner, you know, it's yikes. It's very yikes. Yeah. About 2 weeks ago, I came home from a work trip early and Mary was consoling Sally in our living room. I lost my crap. Asked them if they were having an affair. OP's crashing
that I feel
out.
like it's totally possible, but I feel like that's a little bit of a reaching.
That is
especially right now.
Yeah, that is too much of a reach. That's
a little bit of a reach.
Very overly emotionally charged right now, and that is not the thing you want to say right now. Screaming to the point of crying. I asked Mary how could she have Sally in the living room where we have a photo of Ben hanging on the wall. Sally tried to apologize to me, and here's why I was probably the a-hole.
You weren't already the a-hole.
Yeah, I think we might have already.
I do understand why Mary wants to console Sally. I mean, they were friends, you know, and
yes.
Even though Sally has done something terrible,
yes,
it's hard just to like cut off that
This is
friendship.
a very complicated batch of things that have happened.
Complicated.
Right here. Very
it's
complicated.
So complicated, and it is like, you know, it was very unexpected. There hasn't been a ton of time to process everything going on.
Yes, and we will process it. But ladies and gentlemen, my goodness, is there more? I looked at her crying face, and it was like a switch flipped in me. I immediately stopped crying and yelling, and I just looked at her and said, the biggest injustice here is that you're here while Ben is in the ground. If the world were fair, I'd be able to press a button to swap your places, and I'd do it in a heartbeat. Ooh. You might be able to trick my wife into feeling sorry for you, but you are gone to me.
Wow, it just keeps going.
I see what you really are, and you're trash. You tricked Ben into falling in love with you so you could pretend to be mommy and daddy's good little straight girl while effing whoever you wanted on the side. We're not done yet. I can't even fathom or quantify your selfishness. If I woke up tomorrow and I was you, I'd never get out of bed again.
Wow. OP really said, like, all right, let's hit him with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, like combo. OP did not stop.
Well, that is good a place as any to maybe just super quickly. So we said this is a complicated situation. To break it down really quickly, right? We have one, obviously the cheating is not good. Like, you know, you don't want to do that. You want to marry someone, build this life, have them.
You heard it here first from John. Cheating not good.
Cheating not good. You can't have a situation where it's like Ben, who understands this whole thing, and it's not actually true that, you know, this person is in love with you, that you know, you are each other's mutual partners. That was a very painful lie that was portrayed, right? We also understand that it does suck for Sally growing up in a extremely repressive environment, literally is not accepted by her loved ones for who she actually is, and how that might twist and warp her mind, while not excusable, twist and warp her mind to do something as pain-inducing.
And
as
also,
this.
For Mary, I understand how difficult a situation that is. Like to
Yeah.
have a friend that you've had for years who has effed up majorly, but is still going through a massive loss. And like as much as,
may hate
she has
person.
wronged Ben, I still do think she cared for him. Maybe
Yes.
just not in the complete romantic attraction kind of way, but
Yes.
they probably did care for each other. And so Mary's in this really weird position of like, wanting to console, but not wanting to justify this behavior.
Yeah.
It's so complicated. And so I was OP. I would be pissed at
Mhm.
Sally, and I would say, I don't want this person in my life. I would probably get on the same page with Mary and have a conversation about this. I think it was,
Yeah.
if they already had a conversation about this and said, oh, we're not going to be friends with Sally, and Mary went behind his back to that, I feel like that's whack. But I think you need to have like a united front about how you're going to navigate this, because I think having Sally in the room can be like triggering for OP. Like
Totally.
And I think there needs to be boundaries set, and you need to be on the same page with your boundaries.
And OP can communicate like, hey, it is really triggering for me to see Sally right now, but you cannot communicate it in the way you're doing it. That is too far.
Slightly Toe says the wife completely effed up by having Sally in the house. Go somewhere else. Yeah, I think here's the F ups.
Talk
right?
to me.
Sally effed up by cheating on Ben the whole relationship. Ben effed up by not
Going too
looking
far.
both ways.
Jesus.
Not really.
Not-
Sorry.
Not picking a lane.
Yeah, but Ben did nothing wrong. Ben was a saint.
Yeah.
Mary did something wrong by not communicating that she felt like she needed to take care of Sally.
Mm-hmm.
And OP, I think, went a little bit too far by going on this whole tirade of how terrible Sally is, right? And so I think we have a lot of things that people did wrong here, but it's all twisted up in like a lot of love and hurt. And so I think that's why it's like, no one's completely right, no one's completely wrong.
Yes.
Everyone's kind of done evils on the side, but I do think there is a ranking. I think it goes like, Sally up here,
Mm-hmm.
and I think like Mary and Ben maybe are more on. Maybe it's Mary than Ben, more on equal level.
I think what OP did, I think, is worse than what Mary did. I
What-
think right now in my mind, because how hard he went on her.
Yeah.
Again, knowing, and she said like, hey, this was at least someone like I did share my life with. This is a life partner. He probably was still, her best friend the way that romantic partners are.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
it's almost like saying to your best friend, it's like, oh no, you suck. This person, you die. F you. You should be able to grieve. Da, 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 da. Like, I think that's why I view it worse.
as worse.
Yeah, but still, not to say that what Mary did wasn't very bad and very triggering for OP.
Well, I think like Mary brought someone that would be triggering for OP that OP views as someone that he does not want to associate and doesn't think like he wants to associate with at all.
Yeah.
Brings that person into the house, and what is the effect is this outburst that OP probably doesn't want to make, but he's like literally been exposed to someone in his own home that he believes would be safe, that he thinks completely wronged.
He's been triggered to the breaking point.
And so I kind of see those as neck and neck, but would love to keep going into the next
Well,
part of the story.
Mary says I was cruel, and I guess I was, but it was my truth. Apparently, Sally hasn't left her house since that confrontation. It's to the point she's lost her job because of not going into the office.
Wow.
The thing is, I don't feel bad about it. I think it's the least she could do, and I hope she continues to not exist in my world. Mary knows that I feel this way, but still goes to Sally's place to bring her meals and help clean up the place. It honestly disgusts me. We've had so many explosive arguments about it, and for the first time in our marriage, I feel like we might not ever recover from this. Also, just super quick, I think there is, at a bare minimum a twinge of homophobia in OP as well, because she was
I could see that in that
I
rant.
grew up. They were like, oh, we grew up in a very like repressive environment for that. It seems to me OP probably grew up in that same environment, and whether he knows it or not, I think there is a dash of at least a little. Sprinkle,
What are you referencing?
Go back to that rant.
Yeah.
It says right here.
Yeah. So yeah, you wanted to be this little straight girl while effing whoever you wanted on the side, like, and obviously it's a part of it, but just the way his anger is being triggered and the way he specifically mentions it, I do think that there is, at least a twinge.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious from y'all's perspective. Do you think that reads homophobic? I would love to know what you guys think.
And also and again, it's not like Sally didn't majorly F up, but the complete negative 100% empathy for the side of Sally's struggle of not being able to, like he has not acknowledged that an ounce.
Sure.
Anyways, that's what I'm thinking, but I would love to hear. We've had many explosive arguments about it, and for the first time in our marriage, I feel like we might not recover from this. We both feel like we've seen a new side to each other, and we don't know if we'll be able to move past it. I write this here because we've kept the situation to ourselves. Other people in our lives know something is up, but have been too afraid to ask. I guess I want other people's opinions on thoughts and feelings on this matter, even if everyone thinks I'm the a-hole. We have some relevant comments. Should we quickly touch on OP's a-hole?
I think everyone's the a-hole here. I think that's kind of what we came to.
Yes.
I would love to know what the other comments think, though.
I agree. I think everyone's the a-hole here. Significant Orange 139, shout out to a fellow Orange, says, I am sorry for your losses. That said, I think that if you can't accept that your wife is allowed to have different feelings about this than you might as well just walk away. I don't think you're being fair to say that she never loved him. Love, like life, is complex and messy sometimes. And to be honest, I think you're wrong to say that she doesn't deserve to grieve him. I
agree.
have to say I agree.
I agree with that.
I don't think that she should have brought her into your home. That is a shared ground, and she needs to be respectful of your feelings there.
Agreed there, too. I think we covered that a bit.
Mm-hmm. But in your anger, you were distrustful of your wife, and you showed her a level of cruelty that she did not know you were capable of. That is hard to reconcile. And What For Real replies to that saying, she doesn't get to grieve with his best friend's wife in his house.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, you can't do it in the house.
Agreed.
That's supposed to be, everyone's home is supposed to be our safe spot.
Yeah.
Where we can come back and seek refuge. So 100%. Not the a-hole. I understand the hurt, and at the same time, the perceived disrespect of her going to the funeral and acting like a good grieving wife. With that being said, she probably is grieving. Also, sorry, really quick. I also can see why she wanted to be at the funeral, because also imagine missing the funeral, even if you know you effed up.
Of course she would be at the funeral. I think she has every right to go to the funeral.
Yeah.
And every right to grieve.
Yeah.
Just not in OP's house.
Yes, not in the house. She is a piece of crap for cheating, of course, but it doesn't mean that she can't hurt from losing someone. I know I can't imagine someone cheating on me and then saying that they loved me and missed me. And unfortunately, you now are seeing your wife console and be friends with someone who did just that. And it's making you second guess if she condones it or condemns it. And it's making you think that if she'll support someone who did it, will she do it? Oh, man.
Yeah.
What For Real is very astute for real.
Because also, another little thing is, Sarah is gay. My wife is over there all the time.
I forgot about that. He said,
He asked, "Are you cheating?"
Yeah.
I thought he asked that to Sarah.
I think he said that to the two of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
wow.
he's saying it to Mary and Sally.
And again, I bring up the little sprinkle of
I don't
homophobia.
I don't know if that's homophobia, but I do think he's jumping the gun and assuming the worst.
Yeah. But we go on.
But again, it could be. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm
Could it?
misreading it.
So no. Well,
All right.
like if you're scared of another woman stealing your wife, would that be homophobia? Or are you just scared of your wife being stolen?
I don't think
Food
it's
for thought.
I don't think it's homophobia to I don't think it's homophobia.
I
Food for
think
thought.
because the immediate dash to it could be. But
Yeah.
I digress. We'll keep going. And yet, that's a fair question to ask, but the best place to ask that is in counseling. Do I agree with you? Yeah, part of me does. Your wife seems to care more about the cheater's emotions than your own.
Facts.
True. And seems to be there for her more than she is for you. That's a good point. And that I fully understand that would make my blood boil. But if you aren't going to talk to her about it and go to counseling about it, just call it. It's over. If you can't talk, just get a divorce. We have an update. We are not even halfway through.
Oh, gosh.
Really quick, Sam, what do we think about that last line? If you're having like, there's just like complete stalemate, you're both like,
If you're not
going to
talk, yeah, it's going to lead to divorce. Like if you can't have an open line of communication, you're screwed in that relationship. Like a relationship is all about open communication. As soon as you shut that off, you will resent each other. So I think the commenter is 100% right. 100% right. At least at that last part, the last part. I do think OP did wrong there. I think OP is the a-hole. I think Sally's the a-hole. I think Mary's the a-hole. They all did things are wrong. OP's the a-hole for a over-the-top outburst. I feel like that was across the line.
Mm-hmm.
Mary's the a-hole for inviting someone that would trigger OP into a safe space that there was own. And Sally is the a-hole for cheating on Ben for all those years and not respecting, I think, like the sanctity of OP's home. So
yes,
everyone's the a-hole.
There we go.
Yep.
Well, we have an update.
Let's hit it.
Thank you to everyone who commented on my first post about a week ago. It's been such a messed up situation and my feelings have been all over the place, so it really lifted a weight off my shoulders to see people who could understand why I felt and acted the way I did. A further thank you to people who reached out to me and shared their experience losing a best friend. I'm sorry you guys lost your best friends too. It's like a sledgehammer to the chest that won't dislodge itself. Now on to the update. It's only been a week, but it's felt like forever. Mary couldn't handle the fights and disagreements anymore and packed her bags a day after my post. I knew this was probably for the best and didn't have it in me to argue or fight for her to stay. I just asked, "Are you going to Sally?" To which she sighed and shook her head at me before leaving. Shook her head yes or no? I'm guessing no. I interpret it like
nod is a yes, shook is a no.
Yeah, I think she's saying she's not.
She's
saying that.
I think OP is like jumping the gun here, and like Mary's like, ugh, like that's not even the point.
Yeah, right. Her eyes had nothing but exhaustion and disdain inside, and to be fair, I'm sure mine were the same. The town I live in isn't that big, so I've had a few friends reach out to me to say that they saw Mary at Sally's place.
No way.
Or that the two were seen grocery shopping together.
No way.
I
Those two grocery shop together.
What are you guys getting?
I don't know.
What are we getting at this grocery shop?
Wedding ring?
Extra large cucumbers.
You can get that at Walmart, yes.
Yeah.
Both.
With the GMOs to pump them up. Well, I wake up every day to an empty house, knowing Mary is at Sally's, looking after her, asking if she's okay, cooking her meals, cleaning her house. She hasn't called or texted me at all, other than to answer my call last night with, "I'm not going to talk to you until you apologize to Sally," and hanging up when I try to explain myself. Now, I know I'd be lying if I said I felt bad for what I said to Sally at all. There's no point in hollow apologies, and I especially don't think there's a point if there's nothing left to fix in my marriage. Mary has made it clear where her loyalties and priorities lie. I just don't understand how she can go from holding me while I cried in her arms to choosing Sally over me and ignoring me.
Cowbot is God says next thing you know they'll be U-hauling.
Oh man,
that's so funny. One of my lady lover friends was telling me about a theme in lesbian relationships where it's like I was talking to a gay friend too, and he was like, yeah, like guys will like the problem with gay guys is they just will never commit to each other, or like that's like the most common thing that happens. And then with gay girls, they'll just like settle down so quickly. It's like instant commitment. And there's this joke, they'll date for a few weeks and then get a U-Haul and move in together.
They take it.
This is coming from one of my lady lover friends.
Gotta love Sam's lady lover friends.
How's she doing?
She's great.
Shout out in the chat.
LFG.
My therapist is advising me to let myself just feel my feelings and process before making any big life choices.
Nice.
And she's probably right, but I've lost all respect for Mary. I never would have thought she'd betray me in this way. I lied awake last night when I suddenly had the thought, what if Mary came back on her hands and knees begging and apologizing? What if she gave the best apology she possibly could for me for the situation? What would it change? And it breaks my heart, but deep down, I feel like it wouldn't change anything. There's some things that can't be forgiven. There are a few comments and DMs asking if Mary and Sally could be having an affair.
Which I'm wondering.
Gulp. Or if Mary knew about Sally before everything exploded. Ooh, that's another good question.
Which would be bad too.
Yeah, because she hid it, you know? These questions did keep me up when all of us started going down, but now I can't bring myself to care. My life doesn't make any more, so another cluster F detail wouldn't really change much in the grand scheme of things. I drafted a text that could be the last I send to Mary, and it goes as follows. Mary.
Oh, boy.
You know it's bad when it's just name. Mary, your priorities and loyalties in this situation have been made very clear to me. I don't know if you want to try and save our marriage and the life we've built together, but at this point, I don't think there's anything left of it to save. You abandoned me during what I can only hope is the worst time of my life. You invalidated my grief and anger for what? The woman who has been lying to and betraying us for years? The woman who's used and strung Ben along for all these years? I don't recognize you right now. It's like I went to bed in a world that made sense one night and woke up in a nightmare. I think the only way forward here is for us to get lawyers and communicate through lawyers. I will not be leaving my house. If you want to collect your things, please let relative know so I can arrange that with them. I can't believe this is happening. I never thought this would be what we've become, but choices have been made. Quick gut thoughts on that.
I mean, it seems like it's what OP wants.
Yeah.
You know?
What he's feeling.
And it's like, yeah, it's yeah, I mean, I feel like it's what OP wants and he's barreling towards it.
Yeah, and I think at least now he's seeming to communicate his feelings in a not like explosively attacking manner. So I think this is the best we could hope for this kind of communication to her at this point.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh, boy.
I've been redrafting his message over and over again for hours. Sometimes it's like it breaks my heart. Other times it's like I'm an outsider watching myself in a bad movie. The worst thing is I don't even know if Mary will care about it. I guess I'll let you guys know if I send it. I know I can't keep this up forever. And there is an edit/mini update. Thank you to everyone who for their input. I've deleted the text and I'm looking at lawyers in my area. I'm gathering all of my important documents and screenshotting all of my attempts at communication. I've had a few people ask in comments and DMs about what I said to Mary in our arguments to make her leave. I didn't put that here originally because we were honestly just going in circles again and again. It was nothing short of exhausting. Mary kept on insisting that Sally is still one of her closest friends and that she's not going to abandon her because she made a quote-unquote mistake. To which I'd remind her that her mistake was to make the choice again and again to lie to Ben and everyone around her, robbing Ben of a chance to find someone who would truly love him in the way he deserved while sleeping with and dating women while they were married. I can't imagine how scary it must be having to hide such a big part of yourself, but not everything can or should be forgiven. Okay, this is the first time OP has acknowledged
that, which is good to acknowledge, and I think we kind of said it in the same way, which I think is the best way to say it, obviously.
Yeah, and I think with time and therapy, he is coming around and being more thoughtful about this whole thing.
Agreed.
Which is good. By the way, guys, if you want to join us and cry together, then tap our profile, probably live right now. On Facebook and YouTube, come on in and join the misery. But speaking of that, we still got a decent little chunk of this story left here. But
All right.
I'd be remiss if I.
Lala says Mary and Sally are 100% together.
Ooh, I do. Since we've gotten when it was very first laid down as a thought, I was like, okay, that seems like we're jumping the gun.
Now
It definitely doesn't look better.
it doesn't look great, but
I'm not like 100% convinced that that's the case, but I definitely would say it's possible.
yeah.
It's definitely a possibility, definitely on the table.
Also, to all our lady lovers out there, we apologize for the scissor jokes. We know that is basically a myth in that community. Lala, I appreciate you calling us out on that.
There we go. Big Lala, we appreciate you. Oh, man.
Oh yeah, I apologize too.
Thanks, Riley. But yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say is it seems like, at this point, it doesn't seem to be a move for OP and Mary to stay together. And they're naturally, kind of reaching that stage. OP's getting better.
Yeah.
With more time and
Yeah, well, I feel
reflection.
like the rage and grief are dispersing, so OP can be a little bit more level-headed.
Mm-hmm.
But it still feels like we're trending towards divorce. I would really like to. I want to see what happens next. Like if it actually goes all the way to divorce.
Well, good sir, I have the end for you. So she could have been honest early on, and she would have had a group of friends who would have her back and support her however they could. But instead, she chose to string Ben along. If Ben had passed away thinking he had the perfect marriage he thought he had, things would be different, but he didn't. He passed away lost and in pain as a direct result of Sally. The feeling of loss and in pain. I know his death was an accident, but nobody could have seen it coming. Mary thinks and claims that I am a callous F, and I think that she should have higher moral standards for her friends. And we do have some relevant comments here. So, to bio Nick Knees says, don't do the text, talk to a lawyer, get the ball rolling, get everything done first, get every account checks, amounts listed, itemized list of everything in the house, valuation on the house, check every stock, check every bank account, start changing the passwords and info on everything, personal accounts, credit cards, and check stuff. As we've said in the past, if you want a divorce, just get all your affairs in order and have documentation in advance. Make sure you have all of your documentation and move them somewhere and secure them so she can't come over to get her stuff and take anything important. Ask your lawyer for a list of every single thing you do so you are ready and there are zero surprises, then have her served. Don't tell her you think you're going to divorce and not be ready.
Why is that? Because I feel like if I was going to get a divorce with my partner, I would I guess I would be thinking that it would be
Like an amicable split.
amicable, but I would feel bad to just surprise someone with a divorce. I feel like, in the same way, proposing to someone shouldn't be a surprise, it should be a surprise when it comes, but it shouldn't be a surprise that it's going to happen at all. It feels like a divorce shouldn't be a surprise.
I think sometimes in some situations, if you don't surprise someone with it and they know it's coming, they can maybe manipulate it with money and get ahead of stuff and take more than their half or whatever because you guys have joint accounts. That financial abuse, other things like that.
But I don't know. I don't know if I see indicators of that in this relationship. It's not like there's there's a history of financial abuse or a history of outright manipulation. I'm curious to hear from chat because something about that just doesn't sit right to me. I feel like I wouldn't just surprise a partner with divorce if I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
My cat's name is Karen says you can really F with your soon to be ex with lawyers. Every lawyer you meet with us now is off limits to your ex.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, they can also per PU asserts into family members' name to hide it. Crazy Cat says, I don't think Mary will be surprised to be hit with divorce papers since she was basically said she doesn't want to be in her life.
My understanding of that advice is it's a more generalized thing of hey, just to be triple sure that she doesn't try to mess up any of the evidence, documentation, bank accounts, etc. Just kind of get all of that tidied up first before you bring it over. I agree too that I think it's like, I mean, again, just imagining myself in it, I feel like it would be, I would go into it with a very amicable and like wanting to give mindset versus like, okay, let me hoard and, you know, protect. But I guess I could also see too, and, you know, we've read many scenarios where it's like, oh, if the person did know, they might try to obstruct the justice, so to speak.
Sure. Yeah, it's assuming like divorcing is assuming you are dealing with a rational person on the other end.
Yeah,
like divorcing with notice.
Yeah, and I get the impulse to just as blanket advice say, hey, just get all your ducks in a row first.
Man, I hope
that makes
never
sense.
happens
But
to me, that would suck.
Yeah, samesies.
That would suck.
Also, talk with your lawyer about the situation. Are you in a state where you can file for an at-fault divorce? Do you think you might end off better with a divorce due to her cheating, etc.? If so, get a PI and have her investigated. This commenter is not playing absolutely any mother flipping games. I am not sure she's having an affair with Sally. She might be, but she might be having an affair, and so doesn't see what Sally did is wrong and is able to have her affair while living with Sally. It's also possible Sally and Mary have been covering up each other's affairs for years. Again, a private investigator can help there. Old phone records, digging into weird numbers she used a lot, etc. ... You're making the right choice to get out now. This is a moment of revealing loyalty, morals, and values that your wife has shown she has no loyalty to you or the marriage and has questionable morals and values by choosing her friend. There's no trust anymore in your wife, and you've got a good reason. I saw this happen growing up to a family that my family was close to at our school. The mom was helping her friend through a divorce, ended up cheating during a night out and getting divorced herself. You know what to do. Get a lawyer. Get the process started.
Is that where that ends?
Yep.
That's it.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think commenter went pretty hard in the paint there. Not that that's not necessarily the most self-protecting method to choose.
So I would just, has anyone watched Marriage Story? Am I the only one that's watched it?
I've seen it.
You watched it? Okay.
Yeah.
The whole idea of that movie is basically like to debunk exactly what this commenter is saying.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is these two people are getting divorced. They love each other. The marriage isn't working. They want a divorce, right?
Amicably.
And it starts amicably. And then the lawyers are like, well, like, you know, we could do this.
Yeah.
And so one of them like starts protecting all their stuff. And then his lawyer's like, you know, she could do this. And then what happens is because they're both being on the offensive and the defensive so aggressively, it keeps going higher and higher and piling higher. And like, it just like, it just spirals out of control. And I think when you have defensive action that is in the shadows, you actually end up creating the situation that you were trying to avoid by having this defensive action. And yes, I do realize that it is a risk to assume that the person on the other end of that table is a rational actor. But I'm hoping that you got into this relationship with someone who is somewhat rational, and you can come together if you both treat each other with respect.
Yeah.
And I just worry this like blanket advice that Reddit often gives about move in the shadows, get a divorce, surprise him with it. I think it can lead to the exact kind of behavior you're trying to avoid. Kimberly Fine disagrees a little bit. I would love to know what you guys think, but I imagine I'd get some pushback from this. John nailed it. It's self-projection. This hard-boiled moral soapbox is the result of trauma. They're raging because someone made someone else feel how they've meant to feel. They protect themselves even though there's no actual threat because they couldn't protect themselves the first time or the 50th time, and they won't make that mistake again. Or maybe you are agreeing with me. I'm not sure. That second one bit sounds like you are agreeing with me. They protect themselves even when there's no actual threat, which is like I may be referencing like the lawyers kind of being overprotective because they couldn't protect themselves the first time or the 50th time.
I honestly do agree with you because I don't know, just being in a long-term relationship, my mindset first would be, what can I do to make the other person's life as it's already going to be hard, right?
It's already going to be hard.
What can I do to make their life as easy as possible? Because in most marriages, this isn't like, oh, we dated for we were in a relationship for 3 months. We were in a relationship for 12 months. Marriage is usually multi-years long. Yeah. Oh, Kimberly Fine says, I am agreeing with you, Lowell, and also John. So I think Kimberly Fine's kind of seeing...
seeing the truth in both.
Truth in both, yeah, which I think is...
Kimberly Fine says, nuance, man. Kim... Can I call you Kim?
Are we on that level?
On that level? Yes. Shout out for nuance. Shout out for nuance.
I feel like that is exactly what this whole conversation, that's a great point.
Also, Sophia Callan wants us to be heard. Don't make life decisions when grieving. I do think that's also an important point, although I feel like we have enough information that OP should still be going this direction. But I do agree, like when grieving, you can make decisions that don't necessarily benefit yourself long term.
And you guys are doing it from the Alex perspective earlier in the stream where he divorced in a great way. But sadly, not everyone is like that.
Not everyone's like that.
This is true. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, if you essentially lead with the, how can I give you everything I can to just set you up for success, and as a thank you for the years we had together, I feel like that fosters and sets the tone for a interaction that is benevolent rather than one that is operating out of fear.
Yeah. But, easier said than done.
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done.
And listen, we have seen some crazy divorce stories on the show. My goodness. I'm a little bit proud of us that even out of all of those hundreds of stories that we have seen, that we do still have this. We are still holding strong in the faith of humanity.
Well, because I feel like, reading all these stories, you realize what the main pitfalls of all these relationships are.
True.
It's usually just like trust communication. It's like something that a quote that I love is all the old questions have old answers, and it's like, how do I be happier? Those answers are in a book that's written 1,000 years ago. How can I have better relationships? Those answers in a book written like hundreds of years ago. Like all of this kind of stuff is very, it's very trite or not trite. It's very obvious. It's just harder to do than say.
Same wheel, different bike.
My cat's name is Karen. Says, my ex started an affair with a woman whose husband had died 2 months prior from colon cancer at 35, and he got her pregnant. He's married to her now.
Wow. Dang.
That's crazy.
Jeez Louise, I am sorry. Oh my God, my cat's name is Karen. Also, just my cat's name is Karen is just a wonderful reminder that this stuff does happen. These often are real people.
Yes.
And these are situations that like people have to navigate.
Oh yeah.
And so hopefully, we're setting you up with the trial, the practice level. So if this ever happens to you, which I hope to God it does not, but if it does, you'll be ready and be able to make the right decisions.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's get into that next one, boys.
Let's get into that next one, boys and girls.
My friend is entitled. And I finally broke free.
Read the story.
It's parody.
Celebrating
It's not.
2 years of no contact with an ex-friend of mine, Emma, and figured this would be a good sub to share the story of our friendship. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Lantern on the r/OK Storytime subreddits. Emma was a victim of bullying, so I became her only school friend. Her parents love bombed me, buying me lots of gifts, calling me Emma's savior, and lecturing me about needing to always support her because she was bullied, etc. I didn't know better at 13 years old, and I was essentially being groomed to be Emma's carer. Ooh, okay. I also met Kate, who was Emma's childhood friend, and we became a cute group of 3. But by college, I realized Emma was falling far behind in maturity. Her mom would ask me to help her, poor Emma, with basic things like catch the bus with her or drive her, even though she could drive. Even when it was inconvenient for me, like when I moved out of home and lived an hour away, her mom would still try to guilt trip me. It became a one-sided friendship. So to help Emma grow up, I started teaching her and asking her to do things on her own. But the problems grew. And there is a story to show that. And it's called The Travel Story. So we travel with my new college group, and they politely asked me to not invite Emma again because she would wander off to call her mom and get lost. She'd lose things, get scammed, or randomly unpack her luggage in public. She always needed help, and it was stressing me out 24/7. She never pitched in for Ubers or food. The hotel mixed up rooms, 3 people stuck with a single bed, and Emma got 2 king beds to herself, and she refused to swap, which caused further drama. That's crazy.
You're a monster if you do that.
She even interrupted and tried to third wheel my one date with my significant other. She had been with us every other meal. She was leaving endless missed calls, pestering for our location, and wanting me to pay for her Uber to meet us. I cried many times on that trip, and my significant other admitted he dislikes how Emma treats me. By the end of the trip, Emma was still oblivious, insisting my stress was caused by being too uptight. Got another story about how terrible she is. Her birthday. For her 25th birthday, she invites me and Kate to a dinner, but last minute books a 5-star hotel room to stay overnight and asks us each to pay.
Wow.
I declined, saying I already have plans before my dinner and the day after. Kate DMs me privately saying, this is really important to Emma and it'll mean a lot if we did the hotel. Just pay and we'll do things differently next time. So I gave in and paid. During dinner, Emma is unimpressed by my gift. That's just Chanel lipstick. Alexa, is Chanel lipstick expensive? Alexa says it's expensive. Emma says, you guys pay between the two of you. I'm the birthday girl.
I would leave. I'd be like, hey, birthday girl, I'm going to give you a great gift called a life lesson.
I say we should have discussed this beforehand, and they both turned on me like, you know, the birthday girl never pays. While they went to other bars, I faked feeling sick, went back to the hotel room, calling other friends and my significant other for support. That's when I decided to stop being friends, which I think, honestly, she doesn't sound like a good friend at all. I left first thing in the morning for another event, upsetting both Emma and Kate because they expected me to drive them home. Now we got another story, my birthday, and the end. I hadn't spoken to them for months, but they eventually reached out wanting to celebrate my birthday. The event went surprisingly well until the bill. I don't drink. They went through 2 bottles of wine and cocktails. Emma wanted me to pay. What happened to the birthday girl rule?
Yeah, excuse me. I thought, are we not being consistent here?
You invited us out. You're the birthday girl treating us to a night out. Hypocrites! And they're the ones who asked me out. We eventually agreed to pay the food 3 ways, and they pay for their own drinks. But Kate's card declined, and Emma never pays, so she forgot her PIN.
No, she didn't.
I ended up paying. Kate transferred me immediately, but Emma didn't, and so began the final chapter. For weeks, Emma kept dodging my questions to pay me back for dinner and some concert tickets she also owed. I even sent my bank details again and started giving deadlines like, please have this done by tomorrow. Her responses would be like, hey, how was your weekend? Or just leaving me on red. The audacity.
Scumbag.
It's so whack. I eventually called Emma asking why she can't pay me back, and she admits she doesn't know how to transfer money. We walked through it together, but she never makes the payment. I chased her again on text, and I'm left on red. Ghosted. I asked Kate for help, and she said that's weird. She always pays me back, and that hurt to hear. I chased up Emma again a few days later, left on red again, and I finally had enough. I sent her both concert tickets and told her to go with her sister because I'm not doing this anymore. And then Emma immediately pays me. Took almost 2 months and threats. She made all these excuses. I'm tired. I don't check my phone. You don't know how hard it is to be a receptionist. I'm a lawyer, by the way. You expect so much from me. This outburst has come out of nowhere. I can't believe you're punishing me, etc. I sent her a long text about everything I had bottled up, including the travel story, her birthday, my birthday being taken for granted, etc. And then I asked for space. Kate calls me and angrily demands I apologize for hurting Emma's feelings. I said, no, I'm not apologizing for this. And I'd like for both not to contact me. A few days later, Emma sends me this big text. She apologizes, but then accused me of being inconsiderate, controlling, and impatient. She justifies never making an effort by saying she's a guest to events and trips away while I'm apparently in charge. She then says this is all my fault because I should have been clearer and basically nag her more to make an effort, plan, pay, etc., and that I should apologize for hurting her and causing drama. She ends her text passive-aggressively with, since you're so hung up about this and need me to make more of an effort, whatever, I'll plan the next thing. Let's do tomorrow. Where do you want to go? I'll book.
Again, cut off. I'll plan the next thing. Let's do tomorrow. That's not a plan.
Instead, I asked for a month of no contact, and she left me on red. A month passes, and I get another angry text from her. It's been a month and 1 day now. Why haven't you reached out? I said I'll book this time. Stop hiding. We need to meet up and fight it out. I declined and said the break helped me realize I was happier keeping our distance for now, and I wish her well. Her and her family all immediately blocked me on social media, and that was it.
Gotta love when a problem takes care of itself.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm well aware of the mistakes I made. My boundaries were not strong enough. I fell for the love bombing and shouldn't have felt so guilty about saying no, but now I know to never do it again. Edit, this is for anyone interested in the full hotel story Emma got with the 2 king beds. We can dive straight into this. While 3 girls from my college group got stuck sharing a single, everyone else were couples with double beds, so obviously the hotel got the keys mixed up for Emma and the 3 girls. Emma was oblivious at first. Aw, sucks for them, but my room is amazing. It's massive with a dining table and kitchen. It got awkward and they explained that we needed her to swap rooms. She didn't understand, like, why my room? So I had to spell it out to her a few times. She refused to swap because she wanted the space in the kitchen. I then negotiated that the 3 girls could share her room, and she didn't want to share with girls she didn't know well. I tried to maintain my composure. She had been getting on my nerves all day, and at this point, the 3 girls showed up to negotiate with Emma too. They noticed I was getting agitated and that Emma wouldn't budge, so they said to forget about it. They'll talk to the hotel about upgrading their room. After, my significant other even offered to take the single room so that Emma and I could share our own room, which was an immediate no from me, especially since I was so irritated with her. Well, it turns out the hotel was completely booked out because it's near a huge sporting taste stadium. And the 3 girls and I spent an hour downstairs with one of the hotel managers, and we eventually found out one of the couple's rooms also had a sofa bed that could be set up. The couple agreed to swap rooms, leaving them with a single bedroom, and the hotel could add a spare single to combine it and create a double. But the hotel was short-staffed because they were fully booked and said we'd have to wait until tomorrow to set it up. I can't remember what the sleeping arrangements ended up being that night. By the way, if you want to remember every night how you should go to bed, because the best way to go to bed is to sleep to our voices as they lull you into sleep, you should go listen to our podcast that we release episodes on morning and night every single day, including the weekends. Just look up OK Storytime wherever you get your podcast. However, people observed her over the trip and word got out about the room drama, so they obviously developed opinions about her. When Emma and I argued after my birthday, I mentioned this hotel drama to her, how it wasn't fair to the 3 other girls and other things like never paying or pitching in. And she asked if the whole group knew about what happened. And of course, I said yes. She then got angry at me, texting in all caps, accusing me of character assassinating her, that I gossiped to try to ruin her reputation, which is not true. She did this to herself by refusing to negotiate with the other 3 girls and refused to make any effort. Wild. That's where that story ends.
My friend is ending our 15-year friendship because I refused to host her.
I guess 15 years means nothing nowadays.
15
Jeez.
years out the window. And by the way, this is a direct OK story time from one of you guys. Awesome. Hello, everyone. First-time poster here, and English is not my native language. I love your show, and we love you, and have been thinking of posting this for a while now. I really tried summarizing this story, but it is kind of a long one. I, 31 female, have been friends with Jessie, 32 female, since we were 15 years old. I had just moved to a new town, changed schools. Although I was used to moving, had some difficulties making friends. By the way, this comes from user Actual Development 95, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, just like you did. That's great. Crazy.
There you go.
She was the first to come to me and show interest. We quickly became friends, and she even dated my brother for a few months. After they broke up, we became a bit distant, but after a while, we rekindled our friendship. Okay, we became even closer. After the year ended, we went to different high schools. In my country, high school is only 3 years. She went to a very prestigious Catholic boarding school, while I went to a local high school. We would see each other on weekends along with our common friend group. She has always been a smart, outgoing, friendly person who got along with lots of different people. But I always thought we had a special bond. We had a lot of first-time moments together and navigated late teens and early adulthood together as well.
Like first kiss.
Yeah, I was thinking. I was
first
like,
cherry popping.
Yeah, I was like, what
first
are you?
marriage. All the firsts together. Great friends.
What are first for friends? Like first, I guess like first sleepover.
Yeah.
But then like first kiss. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to jump to conclusions there. We were kind of wild and troubled.
Well,
and
now I'm jumping to conclusions.
And experienced all the fun stuff, raves, parties with strangers, and all sorts of crazy stuff together.
Okay. So like first drinking, first party, first rave.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. All the teenage, young adult stuff
Yeah,
that you can think of,
sure.
in all those movies.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, we never got into any real trouble. When we turned 18, we went to different universities in different cities. But they weren't very far away, so we could keep seeing each other on weekends. This is the year she started getting depressed. She started the year going into a very prestigious and difficult course that she stopped attending a few months in. She then started law school and quickly stopped that too. She's just doing the hardest things first. She's like, let me try the hardest things first, and then we'll go down
And
to the
then,
bottom.
then we'll just find the one that I don't quit.
Yeah. She was smoking the devil's lettuce a lot.
That
So-
good ganja.
And OP says, so was I.
Oh.
But this combined with high expectations from her parents, which made her slowly but surely spiral downwards. At the time, she was in a serious relationship with a common friend, Nate.
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 Okay.
Jesse and Nate.
Jesse and Nate.
The following year, they moved to a bigger city, farther away, and she had become very distant. She stopped attending her new, very expensive business school only a few days in, and it was hard to talk to her. She would spend her days smoking in bed. Some months went by, and she started seeing a therapist, which really helped.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Great job.
She ended up going to Argentina with a friend of hers, and after that, we got back in touch and had a long conversation about her mental health and how she had felt abandoned by me during a very hard time. I mean, we don't know. This is from OP side of the story, so we don't know. Maybe she did reach out, maybe she didn't.
Yeah. And also, like, she's dealing with like logistical, like hard, like the hard course, the business school.
Yeah.
And so we don't know if like she's getting involved with that and
But I also think OP's also doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have their own life too. It's very hard to, especially if you're not together, you can only do so much reaching out, via messaging.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
Yeah. And we have limited information here. So.
Yes. I told her I felt very sorry and that she was kind of right. I had, but not before I had tried. But she pushed me away after every attempt. So I guess OP did try.
Yeah.
But sometime after that, I had earned my bachelor's. Congrats. Had traveled to South America twice and opened up a small business.
Okay.
All right.
Pop off, OP.
She entered school in my town, and I was so happy because it would mean that we would see each other more. I presented her to my friends, and she made lots more, assuming more friends. During this time, I was in a relationship with Victor. He's a really nice guy, and I really liked him. We lived together, worked together, did everything together, and we were a great team. He got on really well with Jesse, and Jesse was also with someone at the time, a friend of mine. So I guess Nate's out of the picture.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I guess Nate's out of the picture.
Yeah.
After some time, I had a really tough time with my mental health and was having multiple panic attacks a day. It had a lot to do with my relationship because I felt trapped. He was an amazing partner, but I wasn't in love with him. We went through a messy separation where I basically cheated on him, so I had to leave him. I still feel very ashamed of that, by the way. You know how we feel about cheating here, OP.
Not the biggest fan.
Not fans.
But life is life.
Yeah, we make mistakes, but as long as you learn from them, but still. I left everything and everyone and stayed at my parents for a time, then moved to the other side of the country for a guy I had met a few years before, JJ. We're calling him JJ. He's 33 male. I had a clean slate to start a new life. I ended up getting pregnant 4 months into the relationship, which was quite a shock, as you can imagine. We decided to keep the baby, and I gave birth to a healthy boy in 2021.
Okay.
My friend Jessie was very distant during this time, and I felt very left out. She told me at the middle of my pregnancy that it was very triggering for her since she has always wanted kids, but probably couldn't because of a health condition. So she wouldn't be around that much. I kind of understood, but still felt very sad that I had to go through this very important and life-changing event without the support of my dearest friend. She broke up with her boyfriend a few months after my son was born and came to visit me with a friend of hers that I didn't know. She was on vacation and was visiting family that she has in this part of the country. I was so happy to see her. During these 2 days, I told her now that she was single, I could tell her that I really thought that she and Victor, my ex, would be a really great fit for each other. She brushed it off. She told me she was thinking of moving closer to me and especially to her family, which was good news because that would mean that we would see each other more. Okay. And your baby. 9 months after my son's birth, I became pregnant with my daughter.
Oh, wow. With the same guy that you had the first child with
JJ.
A couple months in?
JJ, yeah. I would say it's JJ. Nothing different here with names. So okay. JJ. Jessie came to the gender reveal party and told me she was in love and in a relationship with someone.
Victor?
I instantly knew it was Victor.
How do you instantly know that?
Do you just not meet other people? You just like, okay.
It's like, if you were trying to set me up with someone once and then I was just like brushed it off and then like months later I was like,
I'm in love.
Hey, I'm in love. And you're like, it was them.
I did this.
Like, it'd be so not the first thought in my head.
No, it's very weird, but okay. Especially when she brushed it off. You're like, I don't want to do that, but okay. I instantly knew it was Victor and was genuinely happy for them both. The beginning of my pregnancy was fine, but troubles began in the second trimester.
Oh no.
I had gestational diabetes and had to go to more doctor appointments. Just before the third trimester, I went with my partner and my son to visit Jessie for a weekend, and we had a lovely time. But then we had the ultrasound that changed our lives. They detected a huge tumor in my daughter's heart. Oh no. Right in the middle. Oh no. What?
Wow.
Oh,
that's
how
so
does that?
Sad.
How do you not?
What month is this? It's like pretty developed.
It's like third trimester.
Okay.
Yeah, just before the third trimester.
Damn.
Okay, wow, that's okay. Hopefully we'll get some good news here. I had to go through a lot of exams and very stressful appointments. Everyone seemed pretty lost and they didn't seem to know what type of tumor it was and what it would mean for the future of our family. When she was born, we stayed 10 days in the NICU for surveillance. And since everything was doing okay, we were sent home with a monthly visit to the cardiologist. During this time, Jessie was doing a transatlantic excursion by boat, but she didn't call after she came back, nor did she really seem interested in catching up. I had other things to worry about, so I didn't either. When my daughter was just 3 months old, she went to the cardiac arrest at home while I was holding her in my arms.
Oh my God.
I can't even imagine.
Jesus Christ, the terror of that.
I had to perform CPR on her, waiting for the medical team to arrive. She was brought back and sent to a hospital pretty far away. My mom came from abroad to take care of my son, 20 months old at the time. My partner and I stayed with our daughter in a pediatric ICU. We lived through heck and saw and heard things no one should have to go through. I bet.
My friend works in a prenatal ICU and says that the pediatric ICU is just like the most traumatic place ever.
Oh, that's probably the most traumatic place to be. It's probably one of the happiest places or most traumatic places to be in.
Seriously.
I see.
And so
life. Yeah.
And so OP is living in there. It seems like, or spending a significant amount of time because her daughter's in there.
But there's more. It's not just her daughter. It's everything.
Yeah,
around
you're just in the whole environment.
I would hate. That would be so bad.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I just remembered a very sad, tragic tale.
Oh, what is it?
I remember when a young Samuel Donner, he wanted to join the cool kids, but instead of labeling you as one of the cool kids,
they called me Salad Boy because I ate nothing but salads. Could not trade my lunch for a lunch. Really anything.
You know what community will always welcome you with open arms, Sam?
And make you feel like a cool kid?
The great people who have OK Storytime memberships.
Oh, I heard that 60+ hours of members-only content Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
You heard right, Sam, and it's only $5 a month.
So go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join. Now back to the story.
Chomp, chomp.
Since her case was very rare and unique, they kept her in a coma for 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
During which she nearly fell into eternal sleep several times before deciding to try and take the tumor out, which they did.
Oh.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Wow, this is an emotional roller coaster for me.
Seriously.
I'm more invested into your daughter's health than anything else over
it seems
the
like
friendship.
the point of the story rather than like this friendship over 15 years.
Yeah. During this time, Jesse and Victor came to visit us once at the hospital, and it was very comforting to see them. She was there for me and supported me by calling and texting often. We ended up staying 7 weeks in the ICU, followed by 8 weeks in an orbital hospital wing close to home. After leaving the ICU, Jesse wouldn't call or text anymore. A second open heart surgery was planned a few months after when she was just 9 months old. Jesse wasn't even aware of it. She still has no idea it happened, actually. I tried calling her the day of, but she didn't pick up, so left it at that. That's something you just communicate. You just can't assume.
Yeah, sometimes people call me and I forget to get back to them, or sometimes I call people and they don't get back to me, but it's like if I actually needed something, I'd text them with the reason I was calling.
Yeah, you just, okay.
Like you missed one call, so I assume they don't care anymore.
Exactly. You can't. I hate that.
It's a big assumption.
That's a terrible assumption mentality. Something that I haven't mentioned about Jessie that is relevant to the story is that she has ended very close friendships in a heartbeat in the past. I feel like that would have been very pertinent at the very beginning.
Yeah, that seems like first initial context.
Yeah, she's a great friend, but she also cuts friendships very quickly.
Yeah.
Sometimes for what I could consider good reasons, others not so much. She's the type of person who has things her way or no way. She also ghosts people frequently, not answering text or calls on month's end and coming back whenever she feels like it. I'd gotten used to this behavior and accepted it, not getting too offended. I don't believe you. From what I've read in the story, I do not believe you because you did not tell us this information. And it seems like, again, like I don't talk to Jesse and it pisses me off. And then we done talk and now we're goody-goody. I feel like you do get offended. It seems like you got offended when she didn't reach out with your daughter.
And you think that's why they're including that information like so much further in the story?
Yeah. I naively thought that if we were still friends after all these ups and downs, and after more than 15 years of friendship, that we were always going to be friends. I was wrong. A few months after the second operation, she sent me a voice message asking me if she could stay at my house for one night after going to a wedding. She didn't even bother calling. I sent her a short text saying yes. I was kind of pissed off she wouldn't call, but still glad to see her. When the day came, she hadn't sent any news, any confirmation, nothing. So I called her. She answered, and I asked her if she was still coming, as it was already 2 p.m. She told me she was, but that the train arrived at 11 p.m. tonight. I was taken aback. I told her that it was very late, and that with a baby and a toddler at home, it wasn't very convenient for me to have to go to a train station so late, and possibly wake them up when we came back home. She told me she had mentioned the time in her voice message. I listened to it again, and she did. I told her I was very sorry, but if she had another plan, that I would prefer her she slept somewhere else. But that if she had nowhere else to go, then I would of course take her in, since I had agreed to it in the first place.
Is there an option for her to Uber in and OP not having to leave and wake up the family?
That would be better. Just like, oh, maybe I'll leave don't leave the door unlocked. Maybe put the key somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like if there's a code.
Because it seems like the issue is like it's inconvenient for it to be this
late.
A
taxi,
but if I just don't want to go and get you, and that's gonna cause a ruckus.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like there's other options here.
It also seems like OP kind of messed up on her part with not listening to the voice message.
Yeah, it was in the voice note from the very beginning.
I feel like communication is just very off on OP and Jesse here.
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing. It's on both parties here.
Yeah, like it seems like that's consistently been part of their relationship. It's just like miscommunication.
Yeah. She told me she would go somewhere else. The next day, I sent her a text saying that I was again very sorry for the misunderstanding, that I was sad for not seeing her. I had asked her if she would go to where our parents lived this summer and if we would see each other there. I got no answer.
Oh, did she hit her with a ghost?
She's been hitting OP with ghosts since they were 15 years old. I tried reaching out to her several times over the next months and got no answer. But we can always give you an answer by going to our episodes. With stories just like this, just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast app, and search OK Storytime, and we have the answers right there for you. Yes. There's a little bit more to this story, but Alex.
Yes.
From what we got throughout this very convoluted timeline with OP and Jesse, I think we said it already. The communication here is very poor.
Yes.
We already know that Jesse's communication is very, very poor. She ghosts people consistently, and then she'll come back into your life a whole, 100%, then to 0%. Mm-hmm. What do we do?
From my understanding, it also seems like OP might not be the best at communicating
or
as
understanding
well.
communication.
It seems like throughout their whole friendship, there's kind of like unspoken tension around like closeness and distance, and it seems like it's never explicitly named.
Yeah.
And so like it seems like small things that don't have to be big issues become big issues because there's just this underlying tension because of all the withholds in the relationship.
It just seems like there's like a terrible misunderstanding every single time you guys try to make a plan. Or like, oh, we're in the same city? Misunderstanding. Like misunderstanding. It's just like it's a hit or miss.
Yeah.
Every time it's like a 50-50. It's like a flip of a coin with your friendship. So
do you think that Jesse is just done at
No.
this point?
I think Jesse's definitely pissed off.
Yeah.
Because like, hey, I gave you a heads up. I gave you this notice, and you have it in the voice message, and you're gonna do this to me on the day of I come. I would be really upset. Like I have all these plans, and like we planned this ahead, and okay, you were my plan A, and now I have to find a plan B.
Although she did say, if you don't have any other plans, you could stay here.
When you're told the first thing, you're like, hey, find somewhere else. You're like, I'm gonna go find somewhere
like,
else.
yeah.
And now I'm pissing you off, and now I'm pissed off. I'd rather not see you.
Sure.
So I feel like this is a very sisterly bond. I don't think you end the friendship at all. I think I think OP's putting way too much energy into a friendship that she knows communication is very poor, per se.
I would just say, like, it seems like just a general, like, meta conversation about the friendship just needs to be had.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I sent one last message telling her that this would be the last, but that I was always here for her if she ever wanted to talk. I don't like that.
Yeah. It's like you're assuming for them that they're done, and you're like, I'm always there for you, which is just like kind of a passive aggressive way to like be like, all right, we're not friends anymore.
Yeah, literally. So, and you're like, okay, whatever. I don't like, this is my last message to you, but I'm always here for you.
Yeah. It was just the second message. It's not like you sent 5 messages and you're like, there's nothing else to do. You know, like, I love you. Yeah. It was just like, it was the second message. She was like, oh, she didn't respond to my message.
Yes. Like, oh, I'm very sorry that and she didn't respond. And then like 5 more texts later, all right, this is my last message to you. So we get a text back from Jessie. She finally responds telling me that our 15 years of friendship were over. Because she was denied hospitality, and that all of the people she could have seen, she chose me over them, and that I had disappointed her. That she wanted to surround herself with people who made her feel good, and that she was done trying to be my friend.
Damn.
I was so taken back after reading this. I cried a lot. This was 4 months ago, and I still haven't replied.
Oh.
I think we hit it on the head that both of you are really bad communicators. You should have
4 months of that text, and you think
replying now is gonna change anything? She's 4 months in, like, okay, the friendship's over. She didn't reply.
She's writing this on Reddit, and she's like, all right, I'm gonna write this, and then I'm gonna wait like 2 months to receive full comments back, and then I'm gonna decide what to do.
Yeah, I think the communication here, that's the biggest thing. I know this friendship is over, but I feel like I have to tell her how I feel. The thing is, I really don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words. How would you go about it?
My best friend cut me off because I didn't wait 28 days before getting back together with my ex.
28 days later, what a great movie.
This is from you guys. This is from our OK Storytime community. So we got one right from home. All right.
Love it.
So this happened back in 2017, the worst and most dramatic friendship breakup I've ever had. I do want to put a disclaimer. I know I'm not blameless on how the friendship fell apart, so buckle up and enjoy the ride. And by the way, this comes from u-okpicture9893, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to our OK Storytime subreddit, and they could be read right here like this. So, the friend, who we will name Becky, and I meet in community college and hit it off quickly. 4 years later, Becky was now transferring to a university and chose one that was a few cities over, so it was suggested she move out there to save a long commute every day. They offered for me to move out there with her. She had a fund given to her to use on college. I felt a little hesitant at first. She'd be paying the same for an apartment with just her or us, and plus her parents felt more comfortable with me being with her since we'd been best friends for 4 years by now. So we moved into a 1-bedroom apartment, and I transferred to the local community college and decided to also get a job so I could pitch in a little so I wasn't completely freeloading on my friend. I gave half my earnings to her, and on my days off, I would attend classes with her, ones I could get away with sitting quietly in or hang out on campus. She made some friends with classmates, which I got to also become friends with, and we'd all hang out. Well, there was one friend who was a guy, totally my type.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That I started having feelings for, but he had a girlfriend, so I knew we could only be friends. Before the guy, Todd, became friends with us, Becky would tell me all about him, and she knew my type. I would say his girlfriend was attending a different college, and they would visit each other on the weekend.
Shoot your shot.
Yeah.
If there's a goalie, shoot your shot.
I love the past story. Keon's like, we do not accept cheating here, and now he's like, she's out of the country, or she's out of town, go for it.
Shoot your shot. I'm kidding. Do not shoot your shot.
For the record.
Shoot your shot.
Well, another semester came and went, and we all got closer hanging out after class, but at our apartments. Summer comes along, and Todd's girlfriend took a summer trip out of state, and he planned to go towards the end of it and spend a week there. Almost every evening, we were all hanging out, partying as you do in college, right? Well, the three of us got really close, Todd, Becky, and I. One day, we were celebrating another friend's birthday, went out and drank, then the three of us decided we want to continue the vibe back at home.
Oh, no.
It's going to get spicy. I sense the incoming spice.
Now all of you are shooting your shot, it looks like.
At the time, Becky was chatting with a guy she matched with online. We were all pretty wasted and had stopped drinking for the night. We were just chatting back at the apartment. She mentions that the online guy asked her to go out. This wasn't her first date. It was probably 1 a.m., but we always stayed up late. We told her to go for it and have some fun. Okay, so they're saying, like, go for it, and now OP is going to be alone with Todd.
All of you are a-holes. Shoot your shot.
I will note, Todd and I were kind of flirting all night, and he was very touchy.
Oh, no.
She decided to get herself cleaned up to go out, and one thing led to another while she was in the bathroom. Todd and I, you ready? Started making out.
Shocking.
Yes.
He shot his shot.
He did. Yes, that makes us cheaters. And this was when things started going downhill.
You know what I say to that?
Tell him. That's fair.
That was really good.
Yeah, it was satisfying. Todd and I started making out. Yes, that makes us cheaters. And this was when things started going downhill. I knew the moment that happened, Becky was going to call me out on it and probably lecture us. I didn't want to hear it at the moment. She came out. We stopped. She asked, what was up? And I told her, nothing.
Oh, that's so...
Have fun.
Oh, come on.
Nothing's happening. They're like on top of each other. Nothing.
It's like where you're like, you see the couch and it's quickly like, oh, jump to that side.
Yeah.
What do you guys do? Nothing.
Nothing.
Why are you so sweaty? Don't worry about it.
Just working out. She left. He asked why I didn't tell her, and I explained what would have happened. I told him I didn't want to ruin her night and mine. I will be honest, I was selfish. He did explain later that he had emotionally checked out of his relationship, but technically he was still dating, so yes, we were in the wrong. So I meant to tell Becky the next day, but I worked early, so we didn't cross paths, but she hung out with Todd while I was at work, and he told her. She sat him down and asked if he was serious about me, and I haven't been in a relationship before, so go easy on me. She picked me up from work and ripped into me about how she had to hear from him about the kiss, and I'm a cheater. She did tell me she talked with him and told me he really liked me and wanted to have a relationship with me.
Hey, OP, he just emotionally checked out and cheated on his relationship. It's very possible he can do the same thing to you.
Yeah. I always have that reaction when it's like one person's in a relationship, one person's not. They hook up and then they start dating. And it's like, well, this person cheated on their last partner with you.
Yep.
Maybe it's very possible it could happen again with you.
Because sometimes they like the secrecy or like the tabooness. Yeah. Tabooness of like getting caught or like, and then once it's gone, once that secret filter is, it's no longer there, or hiding filter, they're gonna be checked out of that too.
So she gave me advice saying to think about, are you emotionally ready to be in a relationship? If you two break up, will I have to choose between you two? I apologized that I didn't tell her that night that we kissed, that I didn't want to be told right then something I already knew, that we were cheaters, and said I will sit down and talk with him. So him and I sit down to chat about our feelings, and I told him if he wanted this to go anywhere, that he needed to break things off with his girlfriend. Common sense. I did not want to continue feeling like a cheater. He said he understood, and he broke things off with her soon after.
Okay.
Now, unfortunately, during the time waiting to hear if he broke it off, Becky and I were chatting about him, and I mostly if I was ready to be in a serious relationship. It came down to maybe I was not, and that he and I should casually date/friends with benefit. So, which I never had one of those before. I wasn't experienced in anyways. So Todd and I started dating, and Becky started telling me that my personality had changed. You've changed. I was hanging out with him more than her.
Wow, you get a relationship, you're supposed to hang out with your best friend over your partner?
It's OP's first relationship. I think any first relationship, you're just gonna be like you're just gonna like dive in.
You're gonna be a straight up magnet to that.
Yeah.
Especially at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Duh.
So if she went back to her parents for the weekend, I couldn't join because I'd work weekends. I'd hang out or have a date with Todd. One night, he took me to the bar right across from his place. I was texting Becky details. I got off work and said I was going to the bar with Todd. I made the mistake of saying I'd go home that night, but Todd and I were having a good time together, and I ended up sleeping over at his place. I didn't text her to inform her I wouldn't be home. She was at her parents', not the apartment, and would be sleeping over instead. You have to remember, we had known Todd for a year by now, so it wasn't like I was out with a stranger. But I got my phone blown up in the morning asking if I was okay or alive. She apparently stayed up all night waiting for me to let her know I was back at the apartment.
Why would she know if you're not at the apartment or not? She's at home with her parents.
No, she was upset that
Did
OP didn't let her know.
Oh, I mean, that's fair, but how would she not know? Like, did she walk into the apartment? Like, where's OP? Like, she didn't know because...
No, she was just expecting for OP
to
to message her
and
be like, I'm home safe.
Okay.
Which, if she never asked you to do that, it's kind of just an assumption that was going to happen, even though it was never agreed upon.
Yeah, that's a common sense assumption.
No, I mean, like, the friend is making an assumption that OP's
she
going to text her.
Yeah.
But they had never agreed upon that.
Communication.
So I did text her when we left the bar and we were back at his place. So she still texted Becky. I didn't ghost while we were at the bar or anything, so she knew I wasn't wandering around town. I got another lecture on how I don't tell her anything anymore. Because she would get mad at me or lecture me about everything, I started leaving things out from her because I didn't like being berated every time I told her things. I didn't with Todd, but I wanted to share because she was my best friend. I'd have a good time with him and come home, tell her, and she'd give some kind of advice. Okay, guys. Unsolicited advice. No one enjoys receiving that. No one.
If it's once in a blue moon, that's fine. I mean, my parents do it. You get it. You're not my.
But
those
are the parents, and the thing is, she's acting as the parent to OP. But it's her friend. She's not her parent. She doesn't need to be berated.
Yeah, exactly.
And to be parented
and
every
judged.
time.
She's definitely getting judged too. With that.
And so of course she's going to close off from someone who's consistently acting like a parent role, and the unhealthy expressions of a parent role, which is just like constant berating.
I can see like, oh my God, stop doing that. Like if I were in your shoes, I would do this. Yeah. You don't need to do that.
Mm-hmm. I wrote an article called "Your Unsolicited Advice is Ruining Your Relationships."
Yeah.
If you want to give advice, just ask consent. Hey, do you need any?
Do you want my input on this?
Do you want my input? Do you want my thoughts? Are you looking for support?
Yeah. Like what would you do in this situation? Yeah, that kind of stuff. Come on.
I start thinking about it and start to feel bad. She would say, "You look so upset about the relationship. You should end it." Oh, it frustrates me so much.
It's not your place.
Yeah.
It really isn't, because you don't know that. Yeah. Maybe I'm upset with you.
and it's
maybe I should end my friendship with you.
It's like, you look upset, you should end your friendship. Or excuse me, you look upset, you should end your relationship. It's like a huge jump. So things kept happening like this all summer. I wanted to tell him that I wanted to step back for a moment and fix my relationship with Becky and then work things out with him. I don't know what happened, but I didn't get to tell him that exactly. He was leaving to visit his family for the last 2 weeks of summer. I was texting him the night before he left. I can't remember what I texted him exactly, but it was something like, "I don't want to string you along, but I need to focus on getting my emotions straight. I'm not good at expressing or explaining things well over text, probably can guess from this long story, but he misinterpreted my text and blew up on me and said it was over."
John, you've been dancing a lot.
I'm going to give you a live demonstration and you're going to see it too.
Show me those hips. Oh, damn. That is a good move. But you know what is also an amazing move?
What is that, Sam?
Becoming an OK Storytime member.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
And it's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Well, let's get back to the story.
Huh?
Well, also her text, what she was trying to say was like, "Hey, I'm going to need some space because I need to deal with my relationship with my friend." But her text sounded like, "I need to get my emotions straight around us."
Oh, yeah.
That's how it reads.
OP.
And
You should
And
call
then-
them first.
Yeah,
Tell them in person.
I'm such a hater of text for any big
Thing? Oh yeah,
Just
because
call, just
because you
call.
misinterpret it on how
Yeah.
they're saying
Well,
it.
it's just a voice note.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know how to respond, so I just didn't.
Oh, good job, OP.
Becky and I worked things out, got matching tattoos as a sign that we were inseparable.
What is this story?
I'm so frustrated with everything.
This story right now?
It's just like it's just a lot of. It feels like high school.
It does.
It
You
feels like
took the
high
words right
school.
out of my mouth. They're like,
Yeah.
this sounds like very high school-esque,
Yeah.
like senior year,
Yeah, yeah.
such petty, dumb drama.
Yeah, it's like missing bad text about emotions, break up without actually understanding what the text meant, and then get back together with your best friend, get tattooed. It's like such a high school coming of age saga.
It
of a
really
movie.
does. And you gotta play like a really cool song at the end of it.
You have to play a great song at the end, and then put your arms out and go
And,
under
like-
a bridge on a car.
I love that movie.
So good.
Such a good movie. If you know that, you got to know what that movie is.
You
It's such a
gotta.
good movie.
All right. The new semester starts. She has classes with Todd. She asked him why he blew up like that on me. He reads the text to her and tells her what he thought I was saying. She smacks her head and was like, no, she's bad at writing. This is what she meant. He texts me apologizing and says he wants to chat in person. I had a few weeks to get over it. Becky and I were back to how we were again. I tell him, let's just be friends and move on. I regret making that choice till this day. Why'd you make that? Why'd you do that?
Because it was probably a pride thing. It's probably like a prowess thing. Like, oh, you broke up with me is what you lost. Like, but we can be friends.
I have no idea. So Becky and I were going to a small convention in town. Todd and his friend, Mike, were also attending, so the four of us decided to meet up. We moved the hanging out back to our place and invited our Becky and I old friend we haven't seen in a while. The five of us were having a good time. Becky kept pushing towards the mic all night, and of course, I started making out with him. He was a bad kisser, but it was getting late. Wait, who's Mike? Todd and his friend, Mike? Shut up. You made out with your exes who you just broke up with? Friend? The first time you're hanging out with your ex as a friend? That is a messed up move. Jeez. But it was getting late, and I suggested the boys take an Uber back to Todd's place, and the three friends who hadn't hung out in a while spend time together. But Becky suggested I stay at the apartment with Mike and her. Todd and old friend go back to Todd's apartment to continue partying. What an awful suggestion. Okay, we're just gonna switch it up. So Todd, your friend who my friend just made out with, he's staying with us, and then our old friend is gonna go with Todd for some reason. So the three of them left, and I stay with Mike. I had work early the next day, so I left the apartment with Mike asleep on the couch and informed Becky. I wonder what happened with them. Didn't hear from her. I was getting a weird feeling in the pit of my stomach. Got a text from our old friend saying, be nice to Becky, whatever that means. I asked him to clarify, and he said not his thing to tell. Well, Becky messed up. I get back to the apartment after work, and she isn't there, and I haven't gotten any text from her. It's not until evening when she reaches out saying we need to talk and let's go out to eat. Oh, I have a pit in my stomach. Todd and her pick me up, and we go to eat. And they tell me they slept together last night and are going to start dating. I say I had a feeling with how things were looking the whole day, and I'm happy if they are happy. No, you're not. You're a human being. Of course, you'd be furious at that. You guys just broke up, and now your best friend is going to start dating your ex? I totally lied to them and myself that day. Yeah, makes sense. They begin dating, and everything she told me I did while I was seeing him, she did to me. She stopped communicating with me. Her personality was completely different, and I wouldn't see her for days unless she needed to pick up clothes from the apartment, and I was there. I kept saying I was okay, but I lost my appetite for food, and I would just eat out of necessity. But the moment I got home, I would have a few drinks. I'm guessing I was trying to drink my emotions away. They dated for a few months, then Todd and I reconnected. Sorry, not sorry, but I knew he was going to break up with her a few days before, and we discussed trying out our relationship again. This is so messy. I have no words. They broke up, and she came home at 3 a.m. in the morning, woke me up to tell me she broke up with Todd. I had an early shift at work, so I was kind of mad she woke me up to tell me that. Yes, I'm sorry, but if a friend woke me up at 3 a.m. and be like, even if it's a breakup, I would still be like, you couldn't wait for the morning? So I had an early shift at work, so I was kind of mad she woke me up to tell me that. Plus, I knew he was the one that ended things. My mom and sister knew all of that drama, and that happened to go down with Todd, Becky, and I. Told me I shouldn't see him again and told them I feel like him and I aren't finished. There was something still there and I wanted to see it out. This was happening towards the end of the semester. We were approaching Thanksgiving and after would be finals. Becky and I sat down together before she was going to go back home from Thanksgiving break. I told her how I felt with my relationship with Todd wasn't finished. She said that we needed a break from him and that her and I were soulmates and we had each other. I said, yes, we have each other, but I want to see where it can go with Todd. She decides she needs to talk to Todd, so she drives to his place while I'm back at the apartment. She goes and tells him that he should rethink getting back with me. This is so, like, this whole love triangle is just so messy. I'm damaged emotion, and it seems like no one's talking about their anger at the other people engaged in this love triangle. I'm damaged emotionally and I have too much baggage. It won't last long. What would happen to her if we break up? He tells her that she needs to leave and not tell him what to do. She comes back and says, okay, you can work things out with him, but I want you to wait 28 days so it's after finals. I did inform her that Todd and I plan to have dinner the next day. I don't think she heard me or thought I'd cancel, but I'm not sure. But she kept repeating that I'd wait 28 days and made me promise I'd wait the 28 days. Here's my mistake I made that night. I promised her I'd wait. I shouldn't have done that. I stood up for myself and told her no, but I did not. She left, but not before she said 28 days. So she's like, 28 days, 28 days, 28 days. And OP's like, okay, I agree. And then knowing that she's not going to wait the 28 days. So then I texted for a little bit before I had to sleep, early shift the next day. I did confirm that we'd still be having dinner. He picked me up from work and took me home to change out of work clothes. We went out and then ended back at his place. I slept over at his place. I texted everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Not the 28 days, but hey, we got close. We got one day in, or maybe it was under 24 hours, but it wasn't immediate, okay? It wasn't the next second after a friend left. It might have been a couple hours after a friend left. Todd had plans to have Thanksgiving dinner at Becky's house, plans made months ago, and decided to still go because it was on his way to see his mom. I asked him what time he has to be at Becky's. He says that she told him whatever time before 4 p.m. that was dinner time. He got to her place at around 1 p.m. and she opened the door and immediately asked him if he slept with me last night. I heard this from him. Also, she didn't even say hello. He awkwardly tells her yes, but that wasn't her business. She just starts crying and he said how she unloaded on him the rest of the day, saying how I ruined her favorite holiday. I broke her trust, how she has a hard time trusting people. You did break your word with your friend, and so you did break her trust. Me, on the other side, am oblivious to what was going on. I didn't text him the rest of the day because I was with family. She didn't reply to my happy Thanksgiving. She texted me the next day saying when she gets back, we need to talk. He told me once he got to his mom's that he told her and he will tell me everything once he got back. She arrives at the apartment in the early evening. I greet her and she says nothing for a good minute. Then she starts telling me how I broke her trust from not waiting the 28 days. I went behind her back. She wouldn't be surprised if I met with Todd the moment she left the house that night. How throughout our whole friendship, she felt like she needed to compete with me. How we couldn't be friends anymore and I needed to move out.
Very sticky.
So then she starts telling me how I broke her trust from not waiting those 28 days. I went behind her back. She wouldn't be surprised if I met with Todd the moment she left the house that night. How throughout our whole friendship, she felt like she needed to compete with me. How we couldn't be friends anymore and I needed to move out.
Why would Todd tell Becky?
Because she asked. As soon as he came in, she asked.
Todd's like,
she's like,
you caught me.
He's like, okay.
You can smell her on me.
So the whole time I was crying and kept repeating, I was sorry. I didn't even mean to make her feel like that. Then she asked me the oddest question. She looked eternal sleep in the face and asked, did you send those happy Thanksgiving texts to me and my family while he was inside of you?
Huh? Wait, what? One more time. Read that one more time. Whoa.
Did you send those happy Thanksgiving texts to me and my family while he was inside of you? I went silent for a moment and answered, no. Why would I do that? She gave me a moment to say anything I ever felt about her, and I told her I had nothing mean to say to her, and she was an amazing friend. She told me I had as much time to leave the apartment, but I had to move because she couldn't live with someone she didn't trust. I will say, OP did break Becky's trust.
Yeah.
By literally not even waiting like a day. I don't know the exact timeline.
This is like less than a day.
But Becky broke OP's trust by sleeping with Todd first.
It's all over.
It's just
this
a
is
messy,
all over.
It's just a messy love
this
triangle.
is so bad.
Yeah, it's so bad.
So
on
bad.
everyone's parts.
I feel bad for Mike.
Yeah, rip Mike. I told her okay. She went to the room and I was in the living room still crying. I called Todd and he came to pick me up and we went out to eat. I told him everything she said and he comforted me. He asked if I wanted to stay with him, but I told him I'd go back to the apartment. I got back and she texted Todd and I asking why we didn't invite her to eat with us. Why would you want to eat with them?
What do you want to do here? What are you trying to maintain here?
Yeah.
A friendship? A situationship?
You already-
a relationship?
You already said it's over.
It's over with everything, it seems like. You broke everyone's trust.
The next day, she texted me at work telling me I had till the end of the month to move out. Every time I came home, there's a box of my things at the door, so I spent more and more time at Todd's. I went to look at a few rooms to rent because that's all I'd be able to afford at the time, and he didn't like that idea. He asked if I wanted to move in with him, and I said yes. Bad decisions all around. And I paid him for half the rent. But you don't have to pay for half our rent. If you just want to listen to full episodes of stories like this, just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime.
Nice.
There's another relevant update, but we're just going to go into it.
Just go into it.
One weekend when Becky was visiting her parents on the weekend, I went over to the apartment and gathered all my belongings and also took out all the photos we had together. Yes, I was being petty. I heard from a mutual friend. She called her crying saying that I moved out, and the friends replied saying, yeah, that's what you told her to do. And Becky said she thought we would work things out.
Communicate.
No, dude.
No one's saying what they want to say. Everyone's just
packing. She was packing OP's boxes,
and OP was just like, okay, cool. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave.
and then
because
she
Becky
leaves, and
Becky
she's
didn't
like,
say a damn
you
thing.
Actually left.
Yeah, Becky didn't say a freaking thing to OP and was like, I thought she would understand. I thought like she would fight for us, not for Todd.
I did hear she started telling people I was only her friend for the money and that her family hates me. I was very hurt to hear that. Apologies, this ended up so long, but I did omit many other details. If you have any questions, want some clarification, or concerns, feel free to message me or leave it in the comments. Let you know, Todd and I are still together and are happily married. What?
What is this story?
This is crazy.
This is the craziest story. This is a crazy story. Okay.
What? That was what?
And that's the end of it? That's the end of it.
If you want more stories like this, search for our podcast, OK Storytime, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
I exposed my cheating husband and best friend at a family reunion. Now I'm leaving for good.
That's for the good.
That is for the gooder. For some backstory, I, 26 female, and my husband, 27 male, have been married for 3 years now and have known each other for 5. We initially met through our 2 best friends as they were dating. On our first date, we hit it off. We had so much in common and realized we lived in the same apartment building. By the way, this comes from user Dangeroos on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So now my best friend Sarah didn't want me to meet John at first, but her boyfriend Tom forced her to agree as he thought it would be a good match. Sarah kept telling me how he wasn't a good person and I shouldn't go out with people like that. I was confused, but didn't listen to her because at the time I was single, and from the sound of it, ready to mingle.
Always ready to mingle when you're single.
Here's a little bit about Sarah. She's the jealous type. Anytime anything good happens to me, she always finds a reason to put me down. For example, I bought a dress that I had been saving for a while, and instead of being happy for me, she said, finally, I could have bought 3 already. I laughed them off as jokes, but now it makes sense. Now, me and my husband have never gotten into a huge argument over the course of our relationship, and from the looks of it, you would think we're both happy together. Last week, we went on vacation to a nice hotel resort. And the first night there, I feel nauseated. So I tell John to go to dinner without me. He said no at first and then decided to go. When he left, I realized that he had left his phone.
Dun, dun, dun!
The phone just wouldn't stop buzzing, so out of curiosity, I checked it. I couldn't have ever imagined my husband and best friend would ever do this. It was picture upon picture and text of them together. The texts were disgusting. I felt sick. Everything he said to me, he was saying to Sarah. She kept asking him when he would leave and go to her. I felt enraged. This girl who I thought to be my best friend was a backstabbing bee and my husband a cheater. Instead of getting angry, I took screenshots of all of the pictures, messages, everything. This had been going on a few weeks before our wedding. and he got cold feet. In that moment, I felt so betrayed. I got back in bed and waited for him. He came back and I greeted him warmly. I decided to enjoy myself on my vacation and I barely talked to him the whole time. He kept asking what was wrong and I just replied with, I'm not well. I'm not feeling well.
I'm not feeling well, but I'm going to go have some drinks and have a good time.
Just saying, I don't feel well, and then just going out and partying, and then you get home, I just don't really feel that good.
I don't feel well with you because you suck.
Yeah, because you're stinky. Once we got back, his mother hosted a reunion and invited us both. This was my chance. I had to make it perfect. I put on my favorite dress, did my makeup super well, and put on my most expensive jewelry. When we arrived, I greeted all of my in-laws. It was outside, and I waited until everyone showed up. Then I asked to get everyone's attention. My husband looked pleased, but little did he know I was about to ruin his life. I pulled out my phone and told everyone very loudly that my husband had been cheating on me for over 3 years and had multiple affairs, which was true, as he had confessed before. Everyone looked shocked and stared at my husband as he stood there mortified. I handed him the divorce papers and walked out.
She served him. That's crazy.
Served, and I'll be
served.
on my way.
Served and served.
He chased after me and kept saying it was all a mistake. Now his whole family is furious with him. So am I the a-hole? I'll keep updating. As of now, he won't agree to sign the papers. I don't think you're the a-hole. I think the a-hole would be your, fiance who was cheating on you for 3 years. Hi guys. To anyone reading, I sincerely apologize for my bad grammar. I've tried to fix most of the mistakes that you told me about. Let's get into that first update. In my initial post, I left this out, but Sarah confessed to one of our mutual friends that she had had a crush on John ever since she met him. But since she was dating Tom, she didn't say anything. I also recently told Tom, and he broke off his engagement with Sarah. We've been each other's support recently. I've grown fond of him and am surprised to say I like him a bit. I will say I'm definitely not ready to date yet at all, but Tom and I have been close since first meeting. Still, my mental health is ready for a relationship. Update number 2. John has broke up with Sarah. I found it out from a close friend of Sarah that she is in hysterics. All John said was that he didn't want to break off his marriage, he just wanted a fling. Unbelievably, John tried to call me demanding I do couples therapy. When I refused, he cursed me out. I hung up. He still won't sign the papers, and I have hired a better divorce lawyer who's helping me. Tom has been an amazing support. I feel that he's also drawn to me. We might potentially date, but as of now, I think we are both better off single. Thank you for all your support. Update number 3. How do we feel about OP and Tom getting together?
Too soon.
Yeah, but how do we feel about it? Like on the happiness scale, are we like 5 out of 10?
I'm happy because it's like getting back at Sarah.
Yeah.
But also I don't like it because it's like it's too just intertwined. There's just too much
if you guys can
cross contamination here.
If you guys can fully move on and be healed from the current relationship you're in.
This fast too.
No, I'm not saying I agree it's too fast for them to start really dating right now. But if you guys do, when you fully heal from this, I think it'd be great if you guys dated. I don't know anything about this guy. Just to see, it would be so great.
It's just a ha-ha to Sarah and to John. It's just a ha-ha.
It's sweet revenge. I will share Sarah's reaction here. I went to her house and showed her the proof and asked her how she could do something so horrible. Her response, "What did you expect, John, to be married to a fat, ugly pig and be happy?" So we're throwing her into the sun. I was shattered when she said that. Now I'm not proud of what I did next, but I slapped her and left. Now, to be clear, I have always struggled with my weight, but I wouldn't say I was fat. I have gotten therapy for my eating disorders, but that just made all that time seem like a waste. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, OP. Don't let one stupid comment
wasn't
from
a waste.
A friend who's so jealous of you, she's like sleeping with your fiance. That's something a jealous person does.
At the end of the day, I think this person just wants everything to herself, and you don't need that.
Yeah, Sarah sucks. We hate Sarah. I'm done. So I've booked a flight to China, and I'm running away. way.
You know what?
Hell yeah,
You deserve
OP.
it. You deserve it. I was like, why China? But you know what?
Run to China.
Bring Tom. Tom, is that his name?
And bring Tom. It's way easier to bring Tom to China
That'd
than
be
to bring
so
China
funny.
to Tom.
Yeah. That'd
Anyway.
be like, haha, Sarah.
I know this must sound childish, but I can't handle it anymore. It's all too much. I feel like I'm going to die, so this is for the best. I'm not telling anyone. I'm leaving tonight. I will update after I land if anybody has questions. And by the way, if you have questions, let us know. When we go live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, just tap our profile.
Just tap it. OP spontaneous.
OP
OP's
said,
got
you know
spunk.
what? I think she was like, you know what? Tom,
I need
doing
to-
this thing with Tom, it's all too much. I'm getting out. I need to get out. I need to get somewhere that's so radically different from where I'm at right now in this moment. China's the place for me.
That's great. I love that. Like how spontaneous it was. And just like, you know what? Like I said, push it all the way. You don't need to be involved in this. You don't need this. Perfect.
Truly. Didn't tell anybody.
Great.
That takes a lot of courage, a lot of bravery.
One day, just like, all right,
to
cool.
just up and move, just be like, I'm not telling anybody. No one knows where I'm going except for you
Great.
guys. I'm going to China, and
Nice.
and I will update you. Which we better be getting an update right here.
Let's see.
Update number 5. I'm leaving my life behind. I'm starting a new life. No more John. No more Sarah. No more Tom. No one. I'm finally done.
Love that for you.
My new life in China will be easier. If anyone was wondering, I do speak Mandarin.
Okay.
Well, now we know exactly why
Okay,
OP
that's why I
decided to
wanted
go to
back
China.
Yeah.
I'm half Chinese. I have a few friends in China to live with. John has finally signed the papers over a course of 6 months. The divorce will be finalized and settlings will be determined sometime next year. As of now, I'm on the airplane. Thank you. This is goodbye for now. I will update if I get messages from family members or friends. Goodbye. And that is the end of that story.
She said, no more drama.
No more drama. I'm moving
Going
to
to
China.
China. No Tom.
No Tom.
Sarah.
No Sarah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good for OP of just like, I don't need this. And again, she did it. She did it with some like sass. She's like, I put on my best gown, my best jewelry, my best dress, and you got served.
Yeah,
In front of
that really is
everyone.
the best detail. Of
I
like,
love that.
I made sure to be and look as nice as possible.
Look like
And
it's
then was
your
like-
funeral.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Hi. Can I have your attention? The consequences of John's actions are here now, and I'd like everyone to meet them. Thank you. We love that, OP.
Yeah, you, John.
Enjoy your new life in China.
John and Sarah could just rot.
Yes. Send them into the sun.
Stratosphere.
Maybe the moon for the sun. We'll put them in the sun.
Tom on the moon. No, just Tom's fine. I
Tom is
guess.
fine. Yeah, Tom doesn't have to go anywhere.
But that's the end of that story, guys, and the end of that episode.
So if you love us, make sure you subscribe.
we love you.
And see you tomorrow.